Lounge, a video game, movie, TV show podcast. We upload to YouTube and Spotify every other Saturday. If you like what you heard, please hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you. Start. Welcome to the Lounge, episode 13. Once again, I'm your host, Sebastian. I'm joined by Mitch, Dory, and James. Today, we got a really loaded show. We're going to talk about the CMA denying Microsoft's purchase of Activision. We're going to talk about XDefiant. We're going to talk about Disney Speedstorm. We're going to talk about Tchia. We're going to talk about the new Kirby game. We're going to talk about the Horizon DLC. We're going to talk about Dead Island 2. And then finally, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. So let's start with the big news of the week. CMA has denied the purchase of Activision. Obviously that was like humongous news when it got announced that they were going to buy them. I'm like, that's like
I personally
game changer
had
in the industry.
I had no idea the Country Music Awards had so much power over the video game industry.
I said the same joke on Twitter.
Damn it! I never saw that. I wouldn't have made the joke if I knew you did that. Who am I kidding? I would have made the joke anyway. But
I think someone said something like it was gonna like. They're corrupt. The CMA is corrupt. I'm like, what did the Country Music Awards do?
That's what that was about. Yeah. I had no idea the CMA was the one that... So what does CMA actually stand for, everybody?
Let me look it up really quick.
Nobody knows.
I saw that tweet from you, and I didn't know that the CMA was the organization that...
It's
that denied
Awards?
It's the Competition and Markets Authority. They make sure deals are fair in the UK, so they're only the UK.
Chuff right. And all that.
So go ahead.
We should talk about the reason that they gave for denying the deal.
Reason.
Yes. So you wanted to say it, or you want me to go?
Yeah. So it's over concerns about how the acquisition could impact competition in the cloud gaming market.
Yes.
Which I think left all of us probably asking, what cloud gaming market?
Right? Most cloud gaming consoles, in such that they are, have failed, or at least are not doing well, right? Stadia is not being done with much anymore, and any cloud gaming on Nintendo, almost every time Nintendo announces anything that's done on the cloud, including Kingdom Hearts, people are like, oh no, please don't, because cloud gaming just ain't there.
Well,
a loud grunt is heard from the crowd unanimously.
I mean, as I said, cloud gaming is the future. It's just the technology is not there yet. But that's the point they're making, is that the industry changes so fast, and then in 10 years, even though they're making all these deals, in 10 years the industry can be so different that like Microsoft would be completely dominating in that field. Like they would have every like they made all those deals with all those companies. They're already number one in cloud streaming with the xCloud and everything. So their argument is, in 10 years we don't know what the industry is going to be like because it changes so fast that like they could have a total monopoly on that industry. So I understand their viewpoint.
Yes.
I was still shocked that they denied it because of that, because it just seemed like everything was already like, I mean, it seemed like they rectified that problem by
everything was in place already,
doing all those deals.
You know,
but I totally understand the argument though. Go ahead.
It's funny that they're concerned about a monopoly in the cloud gaming market, even though like I think for months everyone was concerned about a monopoly in just like the regular old gaming market, or like with Call of Duty and with like all this stuff. Yeah. And sure, everyone was blowing it out of proportion, but like no one had concerns about cloud gaming. I mean, sure, like it probably wasn't at the forefront, but yeah.
Well, I mean, I really think this is just like an excuse. I feel like this is just I feel like they see a larger problem with this. Right? I mean, to back up, I agree with them about denying it for starters. But even if I didn't, like, I think Patrick Keplik on Twitter was talking about this, how it seems like kind of a flimsy just reason or excuse just to like deny it. But I think it's just like kind of a legal smoke screen, just so they can point to something more concrete. Maybe that's written in the contract. Obviously, none of us are lawyers or experts on law here, but that's what seems to be what's going on, is they're picking out a very specific niche objection, being like, that's it right there, and then it seems like it's a smokescreen for more general concerns about the industry through Call of Duty and stuff like that.
But
so
like,
I don't know if that's true.
The thing is that like, I mean, like I haven't been like keeping up with the whole ongoing deal and contracts for the past few months. Like I haven't been following it closely, but as far as I'm aware, there wasn't necessarily anything outright shady about any of the wording and stuff. Like definitely stuff that like you'd find morally, ethically so, and like obviously the bickering between Sony and Microsoft was just fucking stupid, but nothing was shady to the point of, hey, this is like potentially legitimately dangerous for the industry if it goes through.
I think they made a valid reason. Like I genuinely think they made a valid reason. Whether it's weak or not, but I don't think it's like nonsense. I'm not sure I totally agree that they're trying to hide like what they really want. Because they
that's
totally.
What I mean, it's like I can't see or think of anything that they'd want to that would make them necessarily be afraid of or reject it even more so.
Because they totally dismissed Sony's concerns. Really, they said that's not an issue, like at all. Like that they have that they own Activision on consoles. Like they didn't mention Sony at all. Like Sony's concern at all. Like that was already dismissed like a month ago. The concern is that if Microsoft had Call of Duty on a cloud streaming service, it wouldn't be fair. It would just be. It would be. I'm not saying maybe the monopoly is not the right word, but they would be easily the market leader by far and just destroy everybody else. So the concern is not so much Sony. It's like Google and Apple, and they would dominate that against them. I guess I'm assuming that's what they mean. Because Sony's not there.
Because I really don't think like a board of directors of a bunch of old white guys really care about what gamers are experiencing, if that makes sense. Like they're looking at it from like a business perspective purely, not like an actual gameplay experience perspective. It's not like, oh, think of the people who are not going to be able to play with their friends or going to be able to play such and such. It's just like purely like it's a purely business driven decision, and it's like what is going to benefit Microsoft most, and what is going to benefit us or the UK or other markets the most.
Yeah, I mean,
with like the kickback they get.
Yeah, people always
like that. Like they don't like this decision wasn't made out of like, oh, legitimately think for the gamers. It's just like business at the end of the day.
Yes, exactly.
I think that's what a lot of people on Twitter need to like really understand, is that they don't care about what we play or how we do it.
Exactly.
It's just
gamers think they're making decisions based on gaming decisions. It's like it has nothing to do with gaming. It's like it's all purely business, as you said, and
you put a control in their hand. They don't know. They don't know what the fuck to do.
They probably don't play video games, or they don't. It's not like it's It's people. People play now. People are saying like, because I'm assuming the European Commission says no as well, which is coming up soon, I think. If they say no, then the whole deal's done completely. There's no chance and even with an appeal, a decision in the UK has never been appealed ever. So the chances are it's not dead, but it's pretty much as close as dead as you can get. And if if the European Commission says no, then it's game over. But because the FTC has no legal ruling, like if the FTC in America decided to go against Microsoft would win in court for sure. But the UK doesn't answer to a court like the US does. So Microsoft would definitely get it passed in the US, but the UK is the one that's saying hell no. Now people are saying that like the Microsoft should pull out of the UK and like have like a fury, like a rainfire on the UK and pull out their second biggest market in the world. And I'm like, I guess they could do that.
Do they realize what with it?
But
do they realize what they're saying though?
That's
just gonna backfire on them.
They lose a lot of money on that.
I don't think any business would ever do something like that. That seems so far fetched.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm just, reasoning for the decision aside, I'm just bummed that I'm gonna have to pay £70 for Diablo 4 instead of being able to play on Game Pass now.
Which is funny because I have no issues doing that because like I like buying my games. I like to own my games even though it's digital and stuff. Like,
Is it?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, is there something I'm missing? They're not. Are they? They're not getting rid of Game Pass in the UK, are they? Or
No. So
is something up?
it could. I mean, it could just be assumed that if the acquisition went through, all Activision-Blizzard games would make their way onto Game Pass.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it
of
was a
course,
safe bet
of
that
course.
that was gonna be on Game Pass. I mean, it'd been cool to have like
Of
World of
course.
Warcraft subscription be part of Game Pass and stuff, but it's cool for the gamers. I just don't like consolidation of the industry by giant tech companies. I mean, because I know as Microsoft wanted to paint themselves as the underdog, and it's like you're not really the underdog because you're like I know like Sony and and Tencent are like the big two, but Microsoft is still like $1 trillion company trying to paint themselves as this underdog, and it's like, no, you're not.
Companies love doing that. They love saying, "Oh, look at us. We need your support, gamers. Like, please support our poor little company that was started by Bill Gates, one of the richest people on the goddamn planet." Yeah. I mean, I'm with you, Seb. I think that's one of my main concerns is the consolidation stuff. When I hear about these mergers and companies coming together to, especially ones that work under similar products and similar kind of jurisdiction, so to speak, it raises a lot of concern for what's going to happen in the industry in terms of competition. So that's always my big thing. So I'm glad they denied it on just those grounds alone. But it's very surprising given that we heard about this merger, God, what feels like forever ago, and nothing ever since. And it seemed like it was just going to happen because, I mean, to take this stuff to court is a big process.
Look, I don't like consolidation either. I'm in that camp. The last thing I want to see is the entire video game industry under 2 or 3 massive companies. However, in this particular case, I've thought about it and I just have such a hard time finding a single way in which it would be a negative for the consumers and the people who work at Activision-Blizzard. It seems like it's just an absolute win for both those camps.
I mean, like there is no negative for like the gamers themselves and the employees of Activision. I mean, Activision needs this more than Microsoft needs this, obviously, because I mean, I know people want to own Bobby Kotick, but he has a golden parachute either way. So
at this point, though,
he wasn't going anywhere with Microsoft like acquiring Activision. He wasn't going anywhere.
But I understand what you're saying. The employees, Microsoft would have helped the employees. Like they would have.
Yeah, because I mean, it's true.
That culture.
It's true. Microsoft lays off a lot of people, especially these days. What with the current economic climate and whatever. But Activision lays off people too. So
yes,
it's kind of
especially when they have record profits, they still lay off people.
It's like it's the whole situation. It's kind of like how much worse. I mean, it's so bad at Activision Blizzard. How much worse could it be under Microsoft? I think the only way that situation could go is up.
Yeah, I mean,
but
like you said, there is no negative for the consumer themselves and for the Blizzard employees. I just on principle don't support consolidation like that. Like that's just.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But I'm not like I wasn't like against. I was never like outspoken against the deal. I was not like, oh my god, like Microsoft's gonna have a monopoly. It's game over for the industry. You know what I mean? I never thought that. Like if Activision got purchased by Microsoft, I would have been fine. Like I would have played the games on Game Pass. Would have been a non-issue. So I'm not like cheering for this. It's like it's not like oh my god, I'm pop the champagne or anything. I mean, I won't lie. I enjoyed like seeing fanboys get owned on Twitter, and I enjoyed like the occasional meme or something, but. I'm not like I was indifferent because I have every platform, but generally though I prefer to just purchase my games and I don't have no issues. I rather Call of Duty. I guess I'm okay just with the status quo just because PlayStation's my primary platform and I guess I just have the benefits of it and I understand Microsoft's like reasoning like they're trying like they're saying like it's not fair that like. Sony has all these like deals and stuff, and it's like, oh well, this is gonna put us on leveling field. But even then, I don't believe that. I don't agree with that point because I don't think an argument. Like I said this before, I don't agree with their argument that we suck, we can't handle our studios well, So let us buy a huge publisher to catch up. Like I never understood that argument. Like I can understand like, oh, it's a good. We just want to help. We want to be pro consumer and put in many developers under our Game Pass subscription and get more subs. I understand that argument. But the argument that we suck and we need this to compete with Sony was just always lame to me.
Yeah.
But that wasn't that. But at the end of the day, right, Craig, at the end of the day, though, that like never came up in the ruling. Like it was all about cloud gaming. Like that was the only reason they made that decision. So.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't really play Activision or Blizzard games at this point. I definitely don't play Blizzard games, and I try not to play Activision games. Also, Activision, generally speaking, there are some exceptions, but generally speaking, don't make a lot of the games that I'm interested in to begin with, right? I have no interest in Call of Duty, and I have no interest in a lot of the games they produce. Honestly, Call of Duty is the only game I can think of off the top of my head that they directly produce.
It would have just been weird to me.
Bandicoot,
it would have just been
It
would have just been weird to me if a Crash and Spyro were exclusive to Xbox. Like it just,
right, that's
just
the only
so
thing
weird,
I was thinking about.
And
was
Tony
like,
Hawk
Spyro.
and Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Oh, and Tony Hawk, that's right. So so Tony Hawk and Spyro are like two of the only Activision games I've played in like years.
Well, I mean,
5 years or so.
I mean, Call of Duty is
Crash Bandicoot as well.
This deal. I mean, this deal is all. This deal is.
Crash 4.
This deal is, this deal wouldn't affect you guys really because it's Blizzard's all PC basically. It's a PC audience mainly, and Diablo and Warcraft and Starcraft and all that. But also, but on the Activision side, they have a lot of IPs they never really use. So really, this whole deal was just about Call of Duty. Because I highly doubt Microsoft would make a new Crash game like immediately. Oh, we got new. Let's just give this studio a Crash game. Like I don't. It's gonna be all about Call of Duty because they gotta make that money back, and I think it was all about Candy Crush, because that's a huge game as well.
Yeah.
So
listen, call me an optimist, but I could absolutely see them making a new Crash game, Spyro game, Guitar Hero game
in the future. But I think in the near future, if had they purchased them, I don't think within 5 years you would have got a bunch of games.
Yeah.
Like that. I think they would have been mainly focused on the money making games to get the money back because they paid $80 billion.
But like, there's so many studios on Call of Duty. They could, I'm sure they would pick some off of those and get them. But anyway, just to circle back a little bit, it's what is interesting to me is that you said that Activision needs the deal more than Microsoft, which is true in a sense. But also, if you think about it, if the deal fails, and I don't know the specifics of it, I don't know anything about law or whatever, or business, but supposedly, if the deal fails, Microsoft needs to pay Activision a lot of money for breakup fees or something like that.
$3 billion, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you think about it like that, at this point, they kind of need the deal to go through as well.
I mean,
they're not desperate.
Something I don't think something many people have considered is like, because I dare say, from this deal and everything going on, I really do wonder, and I mean, I'm interested to see if there's any stats backing this up, but like with all the press about Microsoft and Game Pass and all that, I would not be surprised at all if at least, they got some boost in Game Pass subscriptions or sales or something from all this discussion.
That's the,
It's the any press is good press argument. It's like people see Microsoft in the news constantly, and people are suddenly reminded they exist, so they go, hey, I'll subscribe to this Game Pass thing everyone's talking about, or hey, I'll go out and buy a Series S or a Series X.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
I just want to speak from personal experience.
Go ahead.
I just want to speak from personal experience for a split second. The idea that any press is good press is a lie. Okay, thank you.
Oh yeah, no, it's a dumbass argument, but yeah.
There's no numbers on it.
I don't think obviously all that press and potential sales definitely wouldn't cover the 3 billion mark, obviously, but I'm interested to see if, because I mean there's this sentiment and argument going around nowadays, especially with what was it that, I don't know, some game or something that just really crashed and burned for Hi-Fi Rush. Like Hi-Fi Rush, even though it did fantastically for Xbox and they saw it as a success, it was just a Game Pass title really. Like it made them no money. And granted they did barely any marketing for it, so that saved some cost. But it's
it really just kind of pulls into question the financial
Yeah.
stability
However,
of Game Pass.
that does bring me to an interesting point, which is Hi-Fi Rush kind of dispels the theory that Game Pass lowers quality of products because
Oh,
games
quality.
are being made
Yeah,
for.
no.
Because there's a lot of speculation that games being made for Game Pass will be made to a lower standard because they're being put straight into people's libraries.
Well, why?
But I think that kind of dispels it because
I mean, technically,
isn't
Hi-Fi
very-
Rush wasn't. Technically, Hi-Fi Rush wasn't built as a Game Pass title, though.
It's true,
That's
but
what, yeah.
a lot of it was built under the assumption they would be coming to Game Pass because it came out a number of years after the Bethesda acquisition.
Yeah, but it was in development for 5 years, I believe. So.
Right.
Ever since ever since the Evil Within 2, around that period, I think, yeah.
I don't.
But I get what you mean, though.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah.
I think the argument that Game Pass lowers quality is stupid.
Yeah, I don't
It's a
agree with
stupid
that.
argument.
I don't agree with that. The only thing is like Game Pass, Microsoft's like focus on making money is so unorthodox and new that it's like it's really hard to gauge what is a success. Because obviously Sony is all about selling the copy. Nintendo and Sony are all about selling copies and hardware. Like Sony's having a record. Sony's breaking their own record. I mean, the PS5 is on pace to outsell the PS4 already. And they had I think Sony had their best quarter one ever in their entire history this quarter. And the Microsoft's console sales are down by a good amount, but their services are doing well. So it's like it's hard to gauge what's success to Microsoft.
Yeah,
because people are saying people are giving hot takes that Microsoft's internally having issues with Phil and in the direction right now. Like people are not happy. But I
think Phil Spencer is the least of Microsoft's problems or Xbox's problems.
But they're saying Microsoft's leadership, not just Xbox, not Microsoft. People are saying they're having they're internally having issues. Like they're not happy with what's going on right now. But that's all speculation because there's no way to prove that. And that's what people
I heard it from my sources, guys. It's
yeah,
true.
that's what Jeff Grubb's saying. But I don't. I always take it with a grain of salt when people like that say something because where are they hearing this? So I don't really believe that. But I'm
really,
sure
until there's a
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I was gonna say until there's a Variety or a Deadline article or something from one of those big, proper established outlets comes out, and I'm not talking your Kotaku's, fuck that. I'm talking your big proper establishments.
Yeah.
Until I hear it from them, I just don't believe it at all.
Microsoft has to give me the numbers themselves. I that's what I need.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it would. If you ask me, I think Game Pass's subscription numbers are probably stagnated a bit. Not it's still good, but it's not it's probably not what they were hoping. Because they still lack the first party. That's the biggest problem with Microsoft. To this, they had a phenomenal 2020 conference in the summer, and pretty much every game shown we have gotten almost nothing on most of those games. And I mean, we're not even getting trailers or gameplay like that. They're having issues, with their studios. People are leaving. It's been a train wreck.
Legitimately,
for some of their studios.
What exclusives or what first party Xbox exclusives have come out since the next gen consoles have launched? Because we got Halo,
Forza,
which in the eyes,
Halo,
Forza, yep.
Hi-Fi Rush, yep. What else? Oh, I guess it's not. I guess it's not exclusive.
Microsoft Flight Simulator, or was that before?
But I don't know if is that exclusive.
Was that before
to Microsoft? Though.
I mean, it's PC.
It's on Steam
first, and then it came to console. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got Microsoft, and I'll count as a first party.
I'll count that.
If we're stretching.
Psychonauts 2. I mean, they own that studio now, so I would count that. I mean, their 2021 was fantastic. It was that fall was really good, and
but I mean, because I'd say the thing is at least probably Halo is kind of the widest consumer base, most high profile Xbox exclusive or IP that they have, and that in the eyes of a lot of fans at least.
Well, I mean, they have I mean, if you want to count,
or at least stagnated.
I mean,
considerable amount.
They're not huge games. If you gotta count the small games, there's Vampire Survivors, there's Grounded, there's Pentiment. I mean, they've had quality indie games for sure, like fantastic indie games. Their issue is more like the AAA space.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's like you know, and this is what I've been saying about like with Redfall for weeks and months and whatnot now, is that like I'm itching for a reason to like actually go out and buy a Series S. But the more I hear about, you know, like Redfall, like I think you guys are all keen on, or like we're all keen on, like, you know, playing it around day one and like, you know, all playing together. But then, you know, we heard about 30 FPS on consoles, we heard about host-only progression and all these other issues, and then we're all in, like, a lot of you guys were just like, yeah, nah, I'll wait, or I'll play it on PC or something.
Yes.
You know, like, I'll play it on PC is not something I think Xbox or Microsoft should be wanting to hear, or should be, you know, kind of like letting people say.
Well, they don't care.
Yeah,
they don't care about that.
I not so much, but it's like, you know, it's like, I think if you want to, at least PR wise, you know, like if you really want to resuscitate the Xbox brand, then
the statement of like, I'll just play that on PC is a detriment to the it's indicative of the state of the console experience.
Well, I mean, they don't care though. But they don't. I don't think they care about that anymore. I'm gonna honestly, I would argue this, that PC is their main focus, because that's probably where all their subscribers, the Game Pass, because as long as you're part of the ecosystem, they're happy. They don't care where you play it at. But I really strongly believe that PC is their main focus now, because the PC is getting its own exclusives that Xbox gamers don't get. They're getting the games all seem to run better on PC. Like, they're made for PC. They're designed on PC. I mean, Xboxes are basically just PCs that are sold as consoles, and the same infrastructure. And then also, I would argue honestly that their main console is the Series S, and the Series X is just like the premium, like, other option.
Yeah,
all their games seem to be focused around like the same specs and frame rate, like for the Series S, to sell as many units as possible. It seems like Series S is what they really want you to sell, and because like this, I have a Series X and I really enjoy it. It's a great system, but like, I can't tell you how many times. I mean, it doesn't really affect me because I play all my third-party games on PS5 anyway. But I see it all on Twitter. Like, PS5 third-party games just always seem to outshine the Series X, even though it's a weaker system, and it just seems like developers do better job on PS5. I don't know what the problem is, but the Series X it feels like there's no reason to buy a Series X. You can just get a Series S, or get Game Pass on PC. Now, I'm not. No, like I say, they don't care because they just want you to subscribe to Game Pass. But they are kind of. It seems like the Series X is kind of like their black. It's just like a black sheep or the redheaded stepchild of their ecosystem right now.
It's a, you know, it's like you kind of said it was like, you know, their premium console, their premium experience, but it's like, I feel half bad for, like, you know, a lot of Xbox consumers who are looking for their premium title, like their premium first party AAA polished title that they can, you know, buy with their Series X and like properly flaunt almost and say, hey, you know, we've got this. It's like, you know, something that like they can proudly go and say, hey, this really performs best on Series X, or only performs on Series X.
It should be Starfield. I mean, Starfield has to be incredible.
But I doubt it. I doubt performance is going to be that good on Starfield.
To me,
with Bethesda's history and their engine, I'd be shocked if it maintains a steady 45 FPS.
I also want to say, like, going back to like Seb's point earlier about Microsoft not really caring if you buy a console or not, like, you know, maybe this is a really obvious point, but I mean, it's worth pointing out that most people are gaming on Microsoft, right? I game on Microsoft. I'm not gaming. Most people don't game on Apple products. In fact, it's usually an individualized message or
what do you mean, Windows?
Announcement. What's that?
You mean like Windows? Is that what you mean?
Windows, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm saying like it's not made for like iPads or Apple or whatever.
Yeah.
Because and even when it is, it's usually a unique announcement made, like, oh, now available on Apple, because that's such a weird thing to even really imagine.
Yeah, I mean,
so Microsoft doesn't really it benefits Microsoft either way. If you buy it for the PC, you're still supporting Microsoft. If you buy it for the console, you're still supporting Microsoft.
I mean, Game Pass is not even on a Mac. Like I have a Mac next. Like I love Apple. I have Apple everything, but I have to. I can play xCloud on my. I can play Game Pass on my Mac, but it has to be through the browser, not an actual program. So I have to stream it on a website, basically, which is pretty cool, but it's still not the same. But yeah, most people. I think most people that have Game Pass are on PC. Like I think that's the main selling point. And I think Activision deal would help that even more. I mean, the Call of Duty is mostly console, but everything else is predominantly PC.
You know, the interesting thing for me is about this whole ordeal is like they announced the acquisition as such a sure thing. Like, you know, when
we just
the
kind
news
of all
broke,
assumed
it was like, you know, welcome Activision-Blizzard to the Xbox family or whatever, and all the marketing and everything is like, this is happening, you know, this is a done deal. How embarrassing is this going to be if/when it falls through? I mean, they're just going to have to take it back. Like, oh yeah, actually, you know, on second thought, never mind.
just quietly deletes tweet.
You guys are like second cousins, you know. You're not like our sister and brother anymore. You're like second cousins.
It is.
It's like it's like saying like, oh, I've got this is a really lame analogy, but it's like if you're going to prom and say like you've got like the most like, you know, one of the popular kids or whatever, and you're gonna like go to prom with them, and then you actually go up to them and they're like, "No, I'm good," or like you find out they've got a boyfriend who also doubles for the Country Music Awards. It's just it just doesn't work. It's just not a good look.
It's a black eye, but they'll be fine. I mean, they'll have $7 billion to spend again, and
they'll be fine. I just think it's funny.
No, I know, but I don't think it's gonna be like they're gonna be laughed out of the industry and that's it. I think
no.
It's gonna be an embarrassment, but now they have $7 billion to make third-party exclusive deals like Sony does, and they can focus on their studios, and maybe they'll buy someone else. I don't know, maybe it's smaller, but I'd
just much rather see them take that money and invest it properly in their actual first-party studios. I mean, like sure, you have the problem of like leadership and talent now, because like, you know, you've had a lot of pretty high profile exits over the past months and years, from, you know, like from 343 and Playground Games, I think they're called, and a bunch of other stuff. Like, talent is a thing, but it's like I just want to see them invest in first party stuff. I want a reason to like own an Xbox console, and like, you know, like I want a Gears of War 6, I want a Halo. No, Infinite was 6. I want a Halo 7 or whatever they're doing.
Yeah. There's so much. There's so much in development. I mean, they have a bright future. The problem is I've been saying that for 3 years now, and I'm like, can we get the results now? And it's like, Bethesda's carrying them right now.
Exactly. It's like I've been waving the flag for you guys. Can you give me something in return?
I mean, how like Hellblade and Avowed and Fable and the new Forza. We're getting a new Forza, but like the Elder Scrolls, we're not going to see that for like 7 years. It's like, all their games, Indiana Jones, Perfect Dark, we haven't heard shit about any of these games.
Elder Scrolls, and it's like by the time Elder Scrolls comes out, we will be the elders upon whom are reading the scrolls.
Apparently they're going to do a New Vegas 2 or a remake or something like that, and it's like, so I don't know what's going on.
And it's like you can't really blame the pandemic as much at this point now, at least for like, you know, zero news. Because, you know, like Sony have, you know, like we're close to getting Spider-Man 2. I mean, I definitely say the pandemic would have affected it, but it's like the whole industry has moved on at this point and is like gone back into the groove. What's Microsoft?
I mean, even then, 2020 PS5, we got Miles Morales, and we got Demon Souls remake, and then we got Returnal, and then, you know, so on and so forth. So
maybe Microsoft can kind of bolster their catalog at this point with third party, you know, and say, for example, Tom Clancy's XDefiant runs best on Xbox.
Does it run best on Xbox?
Mitch?
No, probably not. No. I haven't heard anything to that extent, but it does run fairly good on PS5.
because my PC is basically non-existent setup-wise at this point.
It's not like you need a high-end PC to play this game, because from what I've seen, yikes. So tell us about XDefiant.
So I mean, I'd say about a week ago at this stage, a week ago, they just ended their 10-day closed beta period, which I played through. I didn't get to talk about it when I did, but I actually played another closed alpha test about 2-3 months ago, and the game was in much rougher shape than it is now. Like, I found, like, my experience of that alpha was, constant lag, the inputs and like sort of the actual gameplay experience just didn't feel good at all. It felt like a Call of Duty game from like, the early 2010s, like the Modern Warfare 3 era.
Which is what people want, though, no?
I think they want it, but I don't think they realize what it actually means when they get it. It's like, it's like, oh, we want a classic COD experience, and then it's like, it's like you have, like, it was missing so many, like, quality of life features, like, things like the prone and like a proper slide, and just like how smooth and fluid the gameplay experience is. Like, go in and play, like, knock it all you want, but like, go and play Modern Warfare 2. It's probably one of the most fluid feeling first person shooters I've played in a while. It's a well produced game.
I assume you're talking about.
No. Anyways, so that was a couple months ago. Like, it was rough, but like, obviously, like, it wasn't the finished build. But I kind of like put it to the wayside, whatever. Then I played this closed beta, and I had a ball with it. Like, it feels like, I want to say, it kind of feels like you're, and in the best way possible, like, it feels like Black Ops 4 mixed with, certain elements of, what was some of the, like some of the, like, mid 2010s COD experiences. It feels like classic COD, but it feels a lot smoother than that. It has, it has some cool inventive ideas, at least in terms of weapon balance and certain abilities. It's fun. That's the biggest thing I can say for it. Like, it feels like if you're missing classic Call of Duty, and like if you're playing it nowadays and like sort of not liking Warzone and falling off the multiplayer, kind of like I have, I'd say this is a fairly good supplement for that. I'd say no complaints at all.
Were we not trashing on this a lot when it was revealed?
Oh, 100%. I mean, they've definitely. I think everyone was, but I think a lot of that was also due to the fact that
all of us were.
They had this really weird, like, punk aesthetic to the game. Like, the logo was completely different. Like, the XDefiant was like spelt or made to look like the XD emoji.
It still is.
And I mean, it still kind of is, but it's not as, like, it was like a literal circle, like, pin badge that like had the XD there, but not anymore. But now it's like, they've definitely kind of redone it. They've made it into like to look more quote unquote mature. They've like, if the aesthetic back then was like, very punk and like, kind of very like Watch Dogs Legion inspired, like graffiti-esque, this is much more based off The Division and like kind of like the high tech look of that game. I'm still so on like the idea of like, bringing together all of these Tom Clancy IPs and like, it's just kind of having them fight out with different abilities and stuff. I think it's kind of uninspired, and I don't want to say bland, but it's like, it's not really doing anything for me.
This one isn't even a Tom Clancy IP, is it? Like, they just stuck his name on it, right?
Yeah, exactly. They just stuck his name on it, and they're using a bunch of
not anymore, though. They took it off.
Tom Clancy IPs. Oh, they have?
Yeah, it's just XDefiant. It's not Tom Clancy's Defiant.
Oh, right. Okay.
Well, actually, yeah, that makes sense because they've added in They've added in the Libertad people from Far Cry 6, which is cool, and they're probably the most by far the most overpowered abilities in the entire game. Just everyone's using their health boosts and health regens.
So now it's just a Ubisoft original. It's not a Tom Clancy.
Yeah, it's a Ubisoft original.
like I think the
Which makes
franchises
sense.
you got to play with in the beta were Splinter Cell, Ghost Recon, Far Cry, Watch Dogs, which you for some reason you couldn't use in the beta, and someone else. But like basically like how it works is that, like you're just playing like random NPC characters, like you're not playing as the actual iconic characters from their franchises. They're just like, people inspired by the get-ups and whatnot. And then like kind of how they link to those IPs is that they have like an actor from one of those games, like kind of over your comms, kind of like narrating the experience. So like for instance, if you're playing as like, the Splinter Cell faction, you've got like Grim from those games in your headset. Or if you're playing as like one of the Far Cry 6 people, you've got the like the drunk uncle character, I forget his name, from Far Cry 6 talking in your ear. So like it has that element of customization, but it's like everything I'm seeing, Ubisoft, like I think the only way this game is going to properly succeed and not kind of burn out after a month or two is if Ubisoft have like a strong live service model. Like they show off like, hey, these are all the plans we have for the game, because like this is one of those games like, your multiverses, like your what was that failed battle royale Hyperscape, where it's like, like this is really fun gameplay wise, but there's no reason for me to come back consistently. Because like you're not like you don't have that allure of playing as like, these beloved childhood characters that you've like been playing for years. It's like it's not that. It's just like people in cosplay. Which
well, if there's one thing that Ubisoft is good at, it's a post-launch live service.
Which
it's kind of a gamble, because like you've got your Rainbow Sixes, you've got your Ghost Recon Breakpoints, like they've utterly turned around, and like they've turned the at least in Ghost Recon's case, the like terrible PR into fairly good PR. Granted it's like a year or so after launch, but whatnot. But they were kind of like like full price releases, whereas a free to play game, I'd say it's more kind of up in the air, because they don't have that steady income of people actually purchasing the game outright. Like sure, like you've probably got more people playing the game, but in terms of how that translates to money spent, who knows? And the thing is, like like it's been like really popular on Twitter for the past couple of weeks. Like everyone's talking about how it's broken Ubisoft records or something or other, and like it's done better than they ever expected. But I'm still really hesitant on how that's going to translate to, like long-term support and long-term, engagement. Because we're like, remember like Multiverses a year ago, everyone was like all over that game. Like like it was like you'd think that it would be more popular than Smash Brothers with the way people were talking about it. But then it just fell off the face of the earth after a month or two, and now it's like been announced to be like kind of shutting down in a couple months, and then they'll relaunch it next year or something. So it's like I don't trust anything at face value anymore. It's like purely,
It sounds fun. I just hope they.
It is.
I just hope they market it better than they did Roller Champions. Cause
yes, and Roller Champions, another great example. Like fun game, but just poor support. No reason to come back and engage with it.
Yeah,
it was smart to drop the Tom Clancy name, because people were probably gonna think
it was
another Ghost Recon game or something.
Yeah, it was. And it's like, there's not really much I can talk about the gameplay or anything, because it's like, it's Call of Duty, and you just have some abilities, and it's like, you've got some
that's all you need to say.
Ubisoft IPs as characters. Like, there's not really much to talk about. It doesn't do anything groundbreaking. It's not like there's a unique game mode or something that, like this game has to, sort of like stake its claim on, like nothing like that. It's a fun game. That, like, I'd absolutely play it if you can, but not much else I can say.
I also think, like, for what it's worth, like, I remember growing up in Rainbow Six, Tom Clancy had a bigger name value. I feel like that just doesn't exist as much. I mean, kind of a lot of people have either kind of stepped away from Ubisoft or don't play those games as much, or even if they do, they're not playing because it has a Tom Clancy name. Like, I feel like his name just doesn't, I mean, it doesn't resonate. Nobody even knows who the hell Tom Clancy is these days. Like, You know,
That
I'm
and,
not
like,
saying
the-
it's a good. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm
Yeah.
just like it doesn't make sense to keep having
Yeah.
this like old white dude novelist whose books no one probably reads anymore, and like tying it to a video game franchise that not as many people
Yeah,
play.
like
I'm sure people do play. I still see clips from Extraction and stuff like that on
really?
on YouTube. I think it's Extraction. It could be a different game.
Probably
to be honest.
Do you mean
Siege is
Siege
probably
or?
what it is.
It's probably Siege. Sorry, I mixed
I was
up
gonna
Extraction
say-
and Siege.
I would
I
not be
haven't even seen
surprised.
Extraction. I was like one of the 3 players playing it at launch.
Yeah, no, it's probably Siege.
I would not be surprised if the word Siege had more cultural cachet than the name Tom Clancy at this point.
Yeah,
For that
I mean,
genre
it's
in
probably
games.
just because
Yeah.
like the genre of political spy thrillers has just, especially in books, has just kind of fallen through the roof in recent years. Like, it just doesn't resonate the same with people anymore.
All right, so are we ready to move on, or do you have anything
Yeah.
else?
Yeah, 100%. Like, just play XDefiant if you come across it, but I'm hesitant on how long of legs it has.
All right, cool. So next game we're gonna talk about is Disney Speed Run, which is also a service game. It's a new kart racer that actually was surprisingly fun. Like I as you can expect, it is full of microtransactions and it plays like a mobile game. Like in terms of like all the unlockables. I mean, there's literally loot boxes and stuff. But but you can largely ignore that. You can just play the game itself, and the racing is actually really fun. I had a blast playing it. It reminds me of like Crash Team Racing with the drifting and everything like that, and then Mario Kart with the like the weapons you can use. But so it was a nice mix of the two.
Yeah, I think it's I'd say with the IP and stuff, it's kind of unique enough to easily separate it from Mario Kart. Whether or not, I mean, it's not going to overtake Mario Kart.
Oh,
like I think
no.
even if.
No.
I think
Mario Kart is a
like kind
juggernaut.
of the way I've heard like some of the devs talk about it, like they kind of want to position it as like such, or at least as a proper side by side competitor with Mario Kart. But no, like even though Mario is literally on one console compared to this, which is on literally everything, it's not going to compare remotely.
I mean, you know how many
you
you know how many games Mario Kart 8 is sold? So
do you
know, I'd
in
not-
the
I would-
billions at this stage.
I would not be surprised that Mario
Billions,
Kart
I
is
wouldn't
sold
be-
more than every single other kart racer released in the generation.
I mean,
Easily.
the Switch alone it sold over 50 million copies. So
Yeah.
it's the highest
Shit.
selling Switch game, I believe. It's probably I think it's the
That wouldn't
highest selling.
surprise me.
It's the highest selling Nintendo game ever. So think about that.
I mean, it's
how,
probably-
how as big as their games are.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like at this point, like they usually release a new Mario Kart or whatever, or Smash Bros or whatever on like every new console. But it's like, this was a carryover from the Wii U generation, and it's selling like already sold 50 million copies plus all the online subscriptions on top of that. Like I feel like Mario Kart is like one of the like 2 or 3 games on the Switch that is keeping people subscribed to online, unless people like really just wanting to play GameCube and N64 games.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like that's like
yeah,
the main reason people are subscribed.
yeah, I'm subscribed to the online service because I like to play in the Nintendo 64. But getting all the Mario Kart like courses is amazing. But
Yeah.
but let's not get
Now,
off.
the main question I think everyone wants to know, right? So this is a kart racer, right?
Yes.
This
Yep.
Disney game. Do you think
Yes.
it will be featured in a best-selling feature film by Illumination Studios?
I mean, technically they already have a giant
Um,
corporation backing them up, but
Do they? Okay,
The-
so what's the character selection like? How wide is it? Very small or?
it's quite limited right now.
quite
I mean, like it's early
yeah,
access.
it is
launch,
limited.
okay.
So they have.
but it's like I think
you go ahead.
Mickey. Sorry, I was gonna say like from off my top of my head is like you got Mickey, which you start with, Donald Duck, Goofy, and then like like you have a choice on like which characters to unlock, but it's like I think the ones you have are like you've got Belle from Beauty and the Beast, you've got the Beast,
Yeah.
Mulan, you have
Hercules
Hercules,
and Meg.
Meg, that's it.
And Jack Sparrow.
And then Jack Sparrow, Elizabeth. I was about to say Elizabeth
Wait.
Sweeney, Elizabeth whatever her
Did you
name
say
is.
Meg?
Swan. I think. Isn't it Elizabeth Swan? No, it's not.
Did you say
Yeah.
Meg, is that Meg from the Meg starring Jason Statham?
No.
Oh, Christ.
I thought you were gonna make a Family Guy reference. I was like, really, James?
Same.
No,
Yes, Mila Kunis
That's
is
the titular
Speedstorm.
Meg from The Meg, aka the Megalodon, and it's just a huge fucking shark that just eats everybody else on the Disney track races.
It
play that game. I
can't even fit in the car properly.
would
It's not
too.
even facing the right direction. It's just
Well,
sideways.
Sora for DLC or on that plane. That's all I'm saying.
We should definitely have like a
they've
sci-fi
got,
like Megalodon versus Sharknado versus like
Yes.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
isn't
Did you know
what,
that Tommy Wiseau, the guy who did
Anaconda.
The Room, is making a new movie called Big Shark or whatever? It's called
Yeah,
like,
I've seen the
Big
trailers.
Shark or something. Incredible,
I'm
incredible
just-
stuff.
Great.
masterpiece. As
Sometimes
Martin
I'm
Scorsese would say,
convinced we live in the
"This
best
is
timeline.
this is cinema."
This is cinema,
Yeah.
absolutely. Scorsese is shaking in his boots. Anyway, sorry, y'all. Disney
But-
Speedstorm.
No.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, so like, oh, and they've also got Jungle Book characters, so like
Yeah, they got
Baloo
Mowgli.
and Mowgli. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Now that is the roster at launch, but in reality, you probably only have access to like 3-4 of them at a time if you're lucky, and then it's like you have to like just grind for the rest. Because like the people making this game at Gameloft, they are notorious for making so many like just really grindy basically pay to win mobile games over the years, and now they've made the jump to console, obviously with Disney's help. And like, I mean, Seb said it earlier, but like the amount of currencies in this game is just utterly insane. Like, I think there are 5 different types of like coin currencies, and then on top of that you have shards in order to unlock individual characters. And like, I think how it works is that like if you complete a certain race, there's like a very small percentage chance that you'll get like 3 or 4 character shards, and it's like you need at least I think 20 to just unlock the character. And then it's like, yeah, after that you have to keep getting more and more stars to like rank them up and like unlock their abilities and upgrade. Like if you want to upgrade them past a certain level, you have to like get them to a certain star rank. So it's like on 1 star you can only upgrade it to level 15. If you want to level it up above that, you have to get it to 2 star. But like it's an RNG chance in order just to get the characters to begin with. And then on top of that, you have basically like your pit crew, I think they call it, where it's like little like JPEGs of like Disney characters essentially, but they give you like perks and stuff for all of your races. And then you have like, I believe, individual car parts. I'm not sure. I think they might be cosmetic only, but it's like you have individual car parts that you can customize. It's a lot. Like, I mean, like I'd say it's a mess, but it's like, I think the core experience of just playing the game is kind of not redeems it, but like it kind of like lets me look past the issues.
Yeah, you can pretty much ignore all that stuff and just play the game.
Yeah,
which is really fun.
Now, granted, that's like, I think like the game starts like has a starter circuit, as it calls it, where it basically just like constantly like overwhelms you with all these currencies and stuff, like, you know, make you think that, oh, okay, this is what, you know, the rest of the game is going to be like. I'm going to get like all these currencies fairly easy and I don't have to worry about it. But knowing the developer, like once you beat the starter circuit, you're basically on your own. Like you either have to like, you know, like instead of like, you know, getting all these like, you know, like 3 or 5 different types of like rewards at once you beat the starter circuit, or once you beat the extended tutorial, you're basically like on your own, and like you'd be lucky to get 1 or 2 consistently after each race.
Yeah.
Which sucks, but like, you know, that's just how the free to play model works, I guess.
No, it so I'm looking it up. You can play as 19 characters. Not all of them are out yet. They're gonna have seasons, I guess. And I'm surprised one of them is Figment. And if you know who Figment is, you really know Disney, because I love Figment. Dory, have you ever heard of Figment? I would be shocked if James had mentioned who Figment was.
I don't. I'm definitely not looking up Figment Disney right now.
Well, he's a purple dragon.
Oh,
a lot
I
like
absolutely would never have guessed this. So no, I do not know who the fuck this
Well,
is.
I know. I know who. Now he is a huge character in Epcot, like in Florida,
Yeah.
like a theme park. He is actually an iconic. He's a small purple
Yeah.
dragon like Spyro.
I was just about to say he looks a little. He reminds me a little bit of Spyro.
Yeah, if you know me, I love dragons. Like as a kid, I had a Figment stuffed animal, and I was huge into Spyro and Dragon Ball Z and all those everything with dragons. I loved. Anyway, point is, I can't believe that he's in the game. Like they're actually just realized
That's very weird, very niche.
which I love. Like that's cool. I'm a big Disney fan, but. So I just hope I can unlock if I do continue to play this game because I haven't bought it. I tried it out on PlayStation Plus trials for 2 hours, so I didn't purchase the game myself. But
is the car from Cars in it?
No. I'm actually really
right.
I'm actually really interested how they're gonna do that.
We should
protest.
Well, you're talking about
we demand Lightning McQueen.
You're talking about like pit crews and stuff. Like there is literally a pit crew in that movie. Like characters for that.
I mean,
should have hired
in
you,
the
James.
movie though. In the movies though, to be fair, like they kind of came at their own volition to support Lightning McQueen and whatnot. Whereas in the game, it's not like that. They don't come in their own volition. You just have to beat the same race over and over and over and over again until you get the chance to unlock them. And even then, you have like limited slots to put them in. So, you know,
they have
Disney capitalism.
Yeah, it has the Pixar movies too, because you can play as the Monster Inc. characters. So I'm guessing that Toy Story is probably gonna be playable at some point as well.
But it sounds like it's free to play. Is it free to play?
Some. Yes and no. Like it's early access at the moment, so you can pay.
Right. Yes.
I think it will be free to
play. Yeah.
But it will. They've confirmed it's free to play. Like it'll be coming out either end of this year, start of next year.
Yeah.
But like this is basically just like, you know, pay to get in early, get a bunch of free cosmetics and currencies and characters that you wouldn't get usually, and basically stress test it for us.
Yeah, I mean,
and I will say, I will say as well,
and it's only $30 too, which is not bad.
Yeah, exactly. It's not much at all. I will say though, the regulated multiplayer, as they call it, so like you just classic like going online, race against other players, they essentially give you, as far as I can tell at least, they give you full reign over the roster, or at least like a selection, or like a handful selection of it, and all races are automatically leveled up to like level 30, and it's capped at that, so like everyone's at the same level. And it's just like classic Mario Kart or classic kart racing, you know. So it's like you don't have to worry about any of the free-to-play grinding, leveling up bullshit or anything. It's just like if you do really just want to hop online, play against some other people, you can do that. And like they've got split screen play as well, and all this stuff. Like so, like if you, unless they like change something and utterly screw it up closer to release. If you are just looking for a classic kart racing experience, you can do that. And there won't be any consequences at all. But I think the main drive, pun not so much intended, the main drive of the game, and definitely what they're going to be pushing to sell a lot of the microtransactions, is just padding out the actual leveling up experience. And like if you want to do ranked multiplayer, I'm pretty sure that is just dependent on what your actual racer levels are. So like if you have like a level 15 character, but like everyone else is like level 30 or something, you're not going to do well in ranked, which is stupid.
It doesn't match you. I think it matches your level, doesn't it? People on equal level as you.
In regulated, it matches you, but in ranked, I haven't tried out ranked yet, so I'm not sure. But yeah.
I got my ass kicked.
You like use head microphones and stuff and talk to people in the multiplayer?
Not that I didn't get anyone on voice.
I don't think so.
Actually, no. I think I may have gotten people on voice chat, but it was like, you know, like a bunch of like either 3-year-olds babbling into their controller microphone, unaware that
it was turned on, or like
honestly
a
going to
bunch
be some of the most intelligent conversation you're going to have with gamers. So I would have taken the chance.
They're talking about
they're
talking
Call
about
of Duty lobby or Disney Disney
I was
Speedstorm,
gonna
which is more coherent.
they're talking about string theory on Disney
right.
speedrun.
I'm just fascinated by the notion of a Disney kart racer with toxic lobbies.
Oh god.
People just debating how abusive or not abusive Belle and the Beast's relationship was, and people just cursing each other out
No,
in the most mildest of Disney swears.
That'd be hilarious if
I will say
everybody playing this game is like a 35-year-old PhD like owner, and like they're all like sophisticated, like this is where they is like their like little secret meeting.
This is it's like basically
Playing as
the
Mickey
equivalent
Mouse.
to like those it's basically the equivalent to like those shitty like AI video game character conversations in like lobbies and stuff, like those videos you see on
so good,
TikTok or YouTube Shorts or whatever. Oh yeah, but it's like it's the equivalent to that. I will say though, like before we move on, the kart racing is utterly chaotic, especially multiplayer. Like the abilities
So much.
can really disrupt you. There's just so many explosions and carnage going on all at once. So it's like, like unlike in Mario Kart where it's like, like it feels like balanced to a T.
Yeah.
And like, like even if you're at first and then you get knocked back to 8th, like there's still a chance that you can get back up to first and win. But in Disney, it's like it's anyone's guess. Like anyone can overtake you at any point. There are like 50 million different little shortcuts and alternate routes you can go on that all overlap over each other.
They breathe down your neck. Like you get hit like every 5 seconds. Like every 2 seconds, you're getting run into or hit by someone's ability.
Exactly.
Just imagine Donald Duck's breathing right down your neck, like I can't even do it. I don't even know how the fuck that
it's sometimes, and it's like it's.
Who is that?
It's Mickey.
Is that Seb?
Mickey.
Yeah.
No, I know. I was like, who's doing the obviously it was Mickey. Come on.
Yeah. My dad always...
Mickey. No, literally, Mickey is right.
My dad always made that joke. A hurricane hit Disney World. Mickey be like, "Oh shit!" Yeah. Yeah. But you're right. It's very chaotic. It's like there's so much
100%.
stimulus in this game. It's like constant pixels.
Yeah,
just
and
flashing.
I mean, like, and if you do get hit by something, it's not as like unforgiving as Mario Kart, where it's like you basically like just sitting still for 10 seconds while your character kind of like goes in circles. Like no, it's like you get hit, you do a little spin, and then you keep on going. Yeah. Like it's much more forgiving. It's much more action packed, and it's probably the game's best and sometimes worst quality. Is that like you just don't know what's going to happen. Like you're constantly on your toes. Yeah, and that's I think if anything, it's probably what's going to set this game apart from Mario Kart, where it's like, that's just classic kart racing. It's more so built around your actual driving skill. This is very much like it's I've heard it described as like a combat kart racing potentially. It's like that's what it is. It's like you're constantly fighting with other players and stuff.
It's Crash Team Racing.
Like it's a brawl.
Yeah, it's Crash Team Racing, but with
Disney.
With more action, like more action. But
yeah.
We probably should start wrapping this up. So, it's a really fun game, but I don't personally think I'm going to play it. I really had fun with it, but I'm not sure it's something I would play in the future. I was pretty happy once the trial ended, what I played, and that's kind of it for me.
You were sathesatisfied.
And I think, and I think this genre, like with Smash Brothers clones, is that like it's so hard to get into like a new, like it's like there's certain genres like first-person shooters, Smash Brothers, fighting games, and things like that, and battle royales where everybody's like likes their own IPs that are established, and when a new one comes out, everybody's like, ugh, another one. You know what I mean? So you have to really stand out nowadays in these kind of genres.
I think it's funny too because like Disney really seems to be wanting to compete with Nintendo directly because like we've got this that they're like I'd assume that they'd want to tee up as a Mario Kart competitor. And then they had their Disney Dreamland Valley game from last year,
which I really like.
Directly competing. Yeah, I really liked it too. But it's like that's directly competing with Animal Crossing. They've got that whole environment.
Yeah, Disney,
kind of like establishment.
Yeah, Disney's getting bigger into Disney's getting bigger in the gaming industry now. Like they're trying to try their own thing. Like because there's a new Disney game coming out on Switch as well, like that platformer we got on the showcase. The Nintendo Direct.
Which one?
It's that like it's like a platformer. It's a platformer with like Mickey, Donald, Goofy, and all that. Like
where they're on an island or something, right? Maybe
something like that.
Is it like a side scroller or?
It's a side scroller, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I vaguely remember this.
I was literally
I talked about it on the
make
podcast.
a joke about how I was literally just gonna make a joke about how they're gonna like make a Super Mario Galaxy or like Super Mario 3D World competitor now.
You know what though, right? I would love a
with
Mickey...
Disney characters.
I would really love a 3D platformer with Mickey again. Like I really like the Epic Mickey games. Like they were cool. Like I love Mickey Mouse. So I would really enjoy a 3D Disney game like that. Like we haven't had that in like forever. I mean, the closest thing to it is Kingdom Hearts.
Have you considered modding Grand Theft Auto?
With Mickey Mouse?
Imagine Mickey pulls up with the Glock. It's time for copyright, motherfucker!
Which is funny.
I always go to my copyright joke with Disney, but it's just too easy. I'm sorry.
The funny thing you say that because... Just a really quick tangent. You know, I live in Florida, and our governor is going in a battle with Disney right now, like because Disney has their own special like town. Like they don't answer to the government, like because they make Florida so much money.
They so much do not answer to the government. They're literally suing the government of Florida, which I think is awesome. And I hope they both own each other.
What did they say? Oh my god, I have to look this up. Like they said the funniest thing to me, which they said
like Disney regrets that it's come to this or something like that.
They said Disney regrets that it has
really ominous bullshit.
Disney regrets that it has come to this. So like, you picture like Mickey in a Gundam or like some like mech. Like they own. Don't get me wrong. I actually side with Disney on this because I'm not gonna get into politics, but I actually side with Disney on this because if they screw Disney over, we would lose so much money in Florida. Anyway, they make us. All our tourism comes from Orlando. Anyway, point is, I was imagining like Mickey Mouse just like in a mech, like the Disney has like the ability to like take over the U.S. government. We regret it comes to this. Like they have like the button on the nuke. Like if they have like the governor.
Wasn't there like a South Park episode that had Mickey
with the
Mouse
Jonas Brothers
or some shit?
No, he's in the Jonas Brothers.
The Jonas Brothers.
He beats up the Jonas Brothers.
This just sounds like Metal Chaos with Disney characters.
Yeah.
I was about to say it just sounds like a Gundam show just with Disney characters, like old school Gundam with politics everywhere.
Let's move on to the next game, which is Kirby Returned to Dreamland DX. I think it's DX. Deluxe.
Yeah,
Deluxe.
Deluxe.
Yes, it's a remake of a Wii game. So I didn't expect to be interested in this game, but you know I really like platformers, and it really stood out to me. And it's actually really fun. It's a typical Kirby game. Obviously, it's a side scroller. You absorb the creatures and you turn into whatever they are. So if you absorb one character, you turn into like a swordsman, and another one you turn into like a wizard, and you know it's typical. Like you swallow things and you shoot stars at the bosses, and it's a really pretty standard Kirby game, I guess. But I really enjoy the colors. Like it's not an incredible looking game, but I really like the cell shadedness to it. Like it actually stands out from the typical Nintendo game, and it's not like it's the most basic story. Like a person crash lands on planet Popstar, and you basically have to collect the parts for his ship to get him off it. I haven't beat the game yet, but that's essentially the whole story. Is you just go through different levels. Obviously, a lava level, ice level. It's a typical platformer, so it's not like a lot to say. I mean, if you like those kind of games, which I do, it's like a very solid 8 out of 10. You get a nice experience out of it, and then you move on. You know what I mean? It's not gonna stay with me like The Last of Us or anything, but
Kirby, The Last of Us.
Well, that's what Forgotten Land was, basically.
I was just about to say that. We already got that.
And it really was, though, because that game was pretty dark at some point.
Does this one have mouthful mode?
Is it what?
Does this one have mouthful mode?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Now, this is a fun game to play with your friends. Obviously, it's designed to play co-op or like 4 people or whatever. So if you have friends who want to play this, there you go. Yeah, it's it's really fun. I mean, there's really cool moments where you get like these really special abilities. Like you get like an epic sword, like a really like basically you break the whole stage. Like he'll get like a really special power where he can like just bulldoze through levels, and yeah, that's pretty much really all I got to say. I mean, it's a really fun game. But yeah, if you I bought it with my vouchers because they finally brought that back to the U.S. Finally, I don't know why they got rid of it in the U.S. and they kept it for everybody else, but it's still here. So I got one more voucher to use. I think I'm going to save it for Tears of the Kingdom, so I don't have to buy it. Technically, I already bought it. If I just cash in that voucher, so which is great because it being $70 doesn't affect me now because I got my vouchers for $100, so I saved $30 basically for 2 games. So it was really worth doing that. Anyway, last game that among these shorter topics is Tchia, which I did beat. I beat it on PlayStation Plus because it was free for PlayStation Plus. And did anyone else like have interest in it or wanted to or played it? Or
I had interest in it, but I never picked it up.
Yeah, I didn't have super high interest in it.
No, I love me some platformers, and like I love like open world indie games where like you kind of just like you just relax and just explore with nice calm music. Like if you like those kind of indies, what was that game? Sable, I think it was.
Yeah,
it's similar to that.
Yeah.
There's not like puzzles or stuff, but it's more like you basically. If you guys ever played Wind Waker with Zelda, I kind of get the vibes with that as well.
That makes sense.
But basically, let me put up the wiki. So basically, what it is you play as Tchia, which is like a little girl. It's in New Macedonia, which is like New Caledonia. Sorry, New Caledonia, which is like an island on the east coast of Australia. It's like right next to it.
Yeah, really?
Yes, it's a real place. It's inspired by it. It's not like it's based on the people.
Right.
There.
Okay.
Yeah. But it is new.
Right.
It is basically New Caledonia, which is it's like a French territory. So like if you listen to the language, it's not a made up language, but they do talk in this game, and it's like a mix of French and their own native language. So you hear like French like pronunciations and stuff. Anyway, you play as Tchia and you hang out with her dad, and he gets kidnapped, and basically the whole game is you rescuing her dad from like this evil spirit who eats children. This game actually is dark in some places because, like, as an example, there is a scene where you cut the head of a chicken off, and the chicken walks around with no head, and the blood just spurts out. And
oh my god.
Yeah, and they stay with that. They run with that joke for like the whole like. There's like several scenes where that chicken pops up. Even that's how it ends. I'm not gonna say like
Wow.
That's all I'll spoil. I don't want to spoil the game, but it does that running joke. Also, like it actually the spirit guy actually eats a baby on screen. So now he doesn't like chew it, and it's not gory. And you find out later something happens, but I'm gonna tell you. But point is, it actually has some dark moments. So basically, you have to go rescue her dad, and she has the ability because certain people have a special ability where she can soul jump into things. So she can jump into animals or jump into rocks or jump into lanterns or anything you want to do. And basically you sail around the several islands on a boat, and you go on the island, and you can do little activities. If you do run into like these cloth enemies where you turn into a lantern and you burn them, and they can capture you. That's basically all the combat is in this game, is fighting those guys, and like there's like turrets later on, but basically you're soul jumping into items and burning them. You can glide like a glider, like Breath of the Wild around. There's an energy meter. You can climb on basically anything in this game. It's not like the prettiest game. It's very colorful though. I mean, the night and day cycle is gorgeous. Like especially when it's like dusk and the sky is pink and everything. It's absolutely phenomenal. You can, like I took so many great photos with this game. Best part of this game to me is the soundtrack. like the soundtrack's probably one of the best of the year for sure. Like almost every song in this game is memorable, and it has like, because half this game really is you just sitting down and playing a music mini game, which you don't even have to play. You can just play audio and it'll automatically do that. But you basically do like with The Last of Us Part 2, where you actually use this, you move the stick around to match the chords, and it's really awesome music. Like this game just like screams culture. Like it's so respectful to the people in that country, and it's basically a tour guide. Like this whole game is basically a brochure to visit, but it really has a lot of heart. Like there's several emotional moments that like almost made me tear up, and like it actually tells a compelling story, even though it's very basic. But there is a nice narrative in it. It's very colorful. The character models are not the best looking, but they're pretty fine. Like I didn't have an issue with that. I think where the game just falls short for me is just the gameplay wasn't like that memorable. It was kind of standard. It was basic. It was like the soul jumping wasn't the greatest thing in the world to me, and so there was parts where I got somewhat bored. Like, cause like there'd be like times where like you get like a cool story moment, and then they want you like fetch quest something to like do a ceremony for like a chief, and it's like, oh, okay, but it's kind of just
like I just want to get to the more interesting parts.
Yeah, but if you just it was the perfect game, because I played this right after Resident Evil 4 remake, where I can just don't have to worry about anything. You just listen to nice music, sail around the ocean, listen to the beach. Cause I love the beach. I love the ocean. I mean, I live in Florida, obviously, and I love that culture. It's such, and I love learning about new cultures and things like that, and I like learning about new people, and it was a game for me. Like this game is not going to click with most people. I think most people are going to be like, oh, this game is boring and indie nonsense, you know. But I really enjoy these soft, like just chill games where you get to embrace the culture, embrace the music, and just relax. But what else? I think that's pretty much everything. There is one thing you can do, which is cool, where if like there's a part you're at and you're just bored out of your mind, you can actually skip the whole sequence. It actually lets you skip the entire.
I've heard that. I heard that, yeah.
Which is cool, because there was a couple parts I was just like, I'm not feeling this skip, and I actually did that. One last thing, you can fully customize Tchia. Like there's tons of outfits in this game. You can, they're very different, and it's cool. Like she has all different hairstyles and outfits, and I think she was a compelling character. I really liked Tchia's character. There's a cool cast of characters in this game. You guys have any questions about this game, or?
How long did it take you to beat it?
It took me about 5 hours, I want to say 4 to 5 hours. No. The platinum in this game is like 25 hours because there's so much to collect, but obviously I'm not doing that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it's there.
Yeah.
But it's actually, like you said, if you have PlayStation Plus, it's a 3 to 5 hour experience. I would say it's 5 hours. 5 hour experience. Very chill game. I think James would really like it. It seems it's more of like his game. I'm not sure you would. I'm not sure Merchadori would be into it, but definitely James.
For 5 hours, yeah, that sounds
it doesn't overstay its welcome. The pacing's pretty good. Like I said, it's just that some gameplay sequences just like drag a little bit for me, but just don't expect like phenomenal gameplay. It's very bare bones. It's their first game they ever made. I think the whole point of this game was just to show the culture of the people there, and like just have good music and stuff. Because I'm telling you, there's like 7 or 8 music sequences in this game where let's sit there for like 4 to 5 minutes of just you don't do anything. If you put it on auto, you just sit there and watch people dance and sing. So like I said, it's more about the experience than the actual gameplay itself. There's one thing I wanted to say and I'm forgetting. I think that's everything. All right, so nothing else before we move on.
Not at this stage.
Yeah, not really, no.
Okay, cool. All right, let's move on to Horizon Forbidden West.
My time to shine.
The Burning Shores. So
yeah,
this is my moment.
Now I
I've been waiting for this.
Before we start, before we start, I have all the trophies in the DLC, so I've completely beaten it. I've done 100% of it.
Is it that hard? Yeah. So like, what actually is involved with like getting all the trophies? Is it literally just like beating the story and doing a few side quests, or?
You do all the side quests, which is only 3 of them.
Yep.
You do all the main
really?
missions. Yeah. Yeah, there's only 3.
Okay.
You have to collect a bunch of stuff. Not like too much, not like absurdly amount. Like it only took me like 10 to 12 hours maybe to do 100% everything. You have to collect like these little dinosaur figurines. And then there's like a part where you have to find a backpack, and then you fly on your the robot dinosaur, and you glide through rings in the sky. That's one of them as well.
Oh, nice.
And there's another one I'm forgetting, and then there's a couple of like the new you have to unlock all the abilities on the bottom of the trees, the new abilities that you get, and then you have to use those abilities on on any dinosaur. You can actually go back to the old map and use it on them, which is faster. But and then that's pretty much it. It's mostly just the side quest and collecting everything, and then the main missions.
That's
obviously.
not too bad then.
Yeah. Like it doesn't overstay its welcome. So Burning Shores, I'll start. Burning Shores is a DLC for Horizon Forbidden West. First of all, you can tell it was made for the PS5. You can definitely tell it was made for the PS5. It looks absolutely incredible. Like it looks better than the original game, which is insane because that game was like probably the prettiest console game I've seen to this point. And the frame rate was really consistent, I thought. I didn't have any... There was some pop-ins when I'm flying around, don't get me wrong. But it wasn't... Nothing that jumped out at me as like, ugh. But this game was absolutely... I know people have criticisms about the gameplay of Horizon. I know people are starting to get sick of Horizon, the IP in general. But just in terms of visuals, though, this game looks absolutely incredible. It's probably the best visuals I've seen on the PS5 to this point, I would say. With the frame rate and the visuals. So, Dory, what else do you have to say about this game?
Yeah, so I didn't 100% this. I did all the side quests and I did the main mission. You unlock a really cool weapon towards the end of it that is awesome. Took me about 6 to 7 hours, so I gotta agree with Seb. Does not overstay its welcome. I think my biggest problems with it were a overly long final boss, and some of the fights felt poorly balanced, even on normal difficulty. Mostly, that's just one of the side missions in one of the first fights because they have you fight like 4 Apex. Like, keep in mind, I know because like I looked at my save date. I hadn't played the game in almost a year, and the first side mission pits you up against some of the toughest enemies all at once. And I had no idea, obviously, because I hadn't played the DLC before. And so I just got my ass handed to me for about 20, 30 minutes, which was not fun.
Were you level 50 when you got to the DLC?
Yeah, I was around level 50, yeah. So I don't know. Maybe it was my equipment. I know I don't min-max.
No, that part was annoying. Because the one problem I have with that game in general, not just the DLC, is that like when you get like spammed attacked by like enemies all around you, you just keep getting hit and hit.
And one of my biggest problems with the combat, and I love this DLC. I love the game it's based on, I guess. So I mostly have praise for it, but I just want to leave with a couple criticisms. Is just that the dodge is really fucking useless sometimes. Like, enemies will come at you, you'll see them coming, you'll react appropriately, you'll still get sideswiped. You'll still get hit by the tail, you'll get hit by the claws.
That's true. Yeah.
It's so incredibly frustrating. And Aloy can't, and that would be okay if Aloy could block or parry or dodge better or jump over their attack or something, but she just lacks that maneuverability.
They should have parrying in this game.
Yeah, they should have parrying or blocking or something. And they don't have anything except a dodge that doesn't even give you any iframes.
I was going to say, if Resident Evil 4 can let you parry a freaking chainsaw with a kitchen knife, Aloy can parry like a dinosaur tail with a bow and arrow.
Well, that's the thing. But that's the thing. I was playing Horizon Forbidden West in the same time as Tchia, so I came up right after Resident Evil 4. So I was so used to Resident Evil 4 and parrying that when I was playing Horizon, I kept trying to parry. I keep forgetting that like there's no parry in this game. So it took me a little while to get used to it.
Well, that's the thing too. Is I had just come off of playing hours upon hours upon hours of Resident Evil. I mean, I put about 70 hours in that game, so I was very used to being able to parry and able to kind of move around enemies. And Aloy just doesn't have that maneuverability. But that's that in the final boss. I will say the absolute. I won't spoil anything, but the absolute last part of the final boss was excruciating for me because I couldn't figure out how to counter one of his attacks. He kept killing me. I kept running out of resources. It only happened twice, but because I'm so like I was at level 55 or something at this point, and I have so many berries, I have so many potions. Like him killing me is a very long process. So even me dying just twice was like excruciatingly long. So on my third try, I got it. I figured out, oh, you're supposed to jump over those attacks.
Yeah.
Because he launches like this electric attack at you that stuns you. And then you're supposed to shoot out these things that he's connected to, and if you get stunned, you just can't do it. And I tried dodging through it. I tried jumping. It was so. No, and the game doesn't help you. The game doesn't give you any tips at all about how to negotiate that move.
I hated that boss. That was very frustrating. Like because the dodging the waves on the ground were easy to dodge, but the problem was that when I jumped in the air, there was some electrical thing hitting me, not like the spheres. Yes. The spheres you shoot.
Yes.
There was something that kept hitting me, so I was getting stunned even though I was dodging everything correctly.
Exactly.
And the time I was ready to aim at the power source, the shield would come back on. I'm like, it wasn't like super hard. It was just tedious. Like it was extremely tedious.
Exactly.
But which is a shame because the first part of that boss fight was incredible.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. And I think, honestly, again, I'm going to try to keep this as vague as possible, but I mean, I guess this isn't really spoilers, but you fight a big fucking machine right towards the end of it. Honestly, it's been given away in the trailer. I was just about to say, they showed it in the trailer, so it's not really a big spoiler. But you fight that thing, right? And I wish that what is going on with that boss would have just happened in the open. I think the fight would have been a lot more fun if the enemy that was inside the machine, because there's an enemy inside the machine, came out of that machine and fought you out in the open. I think that would have been way more fun. Aloy wouldn't have felt so cloistered. I mean, my roommates can attest. I got real pissed at that fight because that fight really sucked. But all this being said, I think this is overall still, with those couple of caveats, this is still a really great DLC. I thought the side missions were fun. I didn't think they were like groundbreaking or anything, but they were fun and I enjoyed them, and it helped explain more about the tribe that we were dealing with. I loved the characters. Man, how do I say this the ending to the DLC is one of the coolest things ever, as someone who has wanted specific options in Horizon and feels like it's been tailor-made for that forever. So
okay. So it was at the end. Was it?
Yeah, it's at the end. It's like towards the end of the DLC. There's like
okay. I mean, I won't say what it is, obviously, but I thought it was in a side mission.
No. It's like the main.
It seems like
we might as well.
Mission, but no, it's
you
the
might as well.
end of the story.
You might as well address it. I mean, everybody knows what you're talking about.
I mean, yeah, and I'm only addressing. I'm only like being vague about it just because I don't want to be spoiled. But spoilers, I guess. So Aloy can finally have a relationship with someone. I forget her name. Say something. I can't remember her name. Sadra? I think it's Sadra.
Maybe.
And you can finally have a relationship with someone, and it's awesome. It's a queer relationship. And what was even better, I didn't use face paints throughout the whole main campaign because I don't think about
Sekio. I think it's Sekio.
Seika.
Probably.
Yeah, Seika. Sorry, it's been about a week since I played it, but yes, it's Seika. And so Seika is kind of your like. She calls you her psychic, but you're both kind of like working together towards stopping this big bad boss, who's basically Elon Musk. I mean, let's all admit that what is basically going on here is that that Gorilla is very clearly making fun of Elon, they should.
It's Elon Musk, played by Sam Witwer, which is cool.
That's right, absolutely.
Okay, that's who he's playing. Yeah,
absolutely, and even. They even got it down to the fact. Now I know this DLC was made months ago, but they even made it down to the fact that the rocket that this guy makes up would explode and pollute the Earth, which is really funny given what just happened to Tesla about a week ago. But anyway, so just prolific shit, prophetic shit. But yeah, the stuff with Seika is awesome. I loved it a lot. It felt true to the character to say either yes or no to being in a relationship with her.
Yeah.
I, of course, went with yes. What I was going to say earlier is I didn't use face paints throughout the whole campaign. I thought it'd be cool in the DLC to use the rainbow colors because those are the only ones actually I really liked.
Yeah.
And so you get to kiss Seika, and you get to have, and I had that with the rainbow face paint, which I thought was just perfect.
Now, the one thing I was gonna say about Tchia as well is like, cause I played both these games the same week, is that both of them have a lesbian kiss, because both of them have LGBT games. So it's like it was pretty cool for a PlayStation game in the same week that I played to have two gay kisses and not just in two relationships. I mean, Tchia as a whole, there's not just a kiss. There's like they actually have romantic feelings and stuff. So and
I'm not sure if Aloy is bi or she's a lesbian, because I feel like she was into one of the guys at one point.
I would argue she's bi. I would argue she's bi, but they kept it vague on purpose, I think.
Yeah, they keep it vague for sure.
Because it's optional. Because you don't even have to kiss.
Yes.
You don't even have to kiss.
Right, but it is canonical that she's interested no matter what. I mean, it's very clear from that she has the whole gay nerves around.
I mean, was anyone really surprised? Like, I always got vibes that like,
I think it was just outright I said it to you guys in the chat.
When you're so
I thought
gay,
it was just outright
everyone just presumes.
Yeah,
no, she's always.
It's like that thing in movies and stuff. It's like, yeah.
I thought she was like super gay. It's just like I think she's bi, but I think she prefers women.
There's there's a character at the start of Forbidden West, Petra, I think, but it's like
Petra.
That at least Petra's like obviously flirting with Aloy.
Yes,
and it's like
I noticed that as well.
I completely forgot the character from the first game. So like with the way they were talking, I'm like, oh, okay, there just must have been some side mission or something that I missed where it's like they, not kissed or anything, but it's like they like got into a relationship or they like expressed feelings for each other just because of how like, not overt, but like how like sort of laying on thick. How sort of like thick the subtext was. So I'm just like, oh, okay, they confirmed it, cool, that's obvious. And then it's like I saw all these articles about the DLC. I'm like, I thought we knew this.
No,
that was the same thing with Ellie. I thought it was pretty obvious Ellie was gay. I always felt like she was gay. They didn't even have to tell me that. And like I was like, and then people were like shocked.
And then left behind. Yeah,
I'm like, I thought it was clearly
shocked Pikachu.
I thought she was clearly gay.
Pikachu emoji. But anyway, so that's really cool, and I think it's cool. I think it fits, no matter what choice you make with Seika at the end of the DLC. I think it really fits Aloy's character, and that's awesome.
Yeah,
it was a great ending, and it made the DLC worth a lot more to me. I don't know if it's going to impact the third game. Oh, also speaking of things that are going to impact the third game. Obviously RIP to Lance Reddick, which made me really fucking sad because I didn't even know that was Lance Reddick and I didn't know a lot about him, but obviously him passing away. They clearly were starting to do something with Silent's character in terms of character development and making him a little bit more. So I have no idea what the fuck they're gonna do, but it's a great performance as always from him.
Yeah, he's like basically anti-hero or he neutral person. Like he's helps her, but he has his own like motivations. Yeah,
exactly.
So he's probably gonna either backstab her in the third game or something like that. Or
I wonder who they replace him with though. That's my question.
You can't get rid of him.
I guess you have to.
Because you can't get rid of him as a character because he's too important to the story.
I agree.
He plays a vital role in this DLC.
I thought maybe they would try to write him off or something in the DLC, but they don't at all. If anything, they make him more integral than they did prior. So it's going to be really hard.
Although I would guess that this DLC was already done a long time ago.
Right, but I thought maybe like post his death.
It might have been too late though.
Do something.
Yeah, it might have been too late.
That's true.
But either way, I will see. We'll see what they do. Now this game,
it's a great DLC.
It is a great DLC.
For $20. For $20, and you can get, like Seb said, 10 to 12 hours. I think that's pretty solid. I mean, I know money to time or whatever, but I thought it was a good use of my time. I loved seeing that world and those characters again. Forbidden West was a game that I was so glad to have when it came out.
Yeah.
And it just really sucked me into its world, and so I have a very special kind of feeling for that. Yeah, I mean, and I think the special weapon they give you is really fucking cool too. That helps elevate the DLC as well. So the new character, the new weapons, the new side quests and areas, like Seb says, the game's gorgeous. So
the new weapon was like OP. Like
it was amazing.
I only used it in DLC basically because it didn't take much to craft either, and it did so much damage. Like I had so many resources for it. Like,
it definitely felt like a hey, thank you for playing our game. Now please go destroy everybody in our honor.
Like maybe
our thing.
Maybe it helped that I was already like maxed out armor and I did all the trophies, and that's why I was already like I had the platinum playthrough, so I had all my fully equipped gear and fully equipped weapons, and I thought the DLC was pretty easy, just only because I think I was so geared out by the time I played the game. But I really liked the new the robots, the new dinosaurs. Like I like the frog ones. Like they were cool. They were a pain in the ass, but they were cool. What was I gonna say? I know people are tired of Horizon, but I really enjoyed. I actually really enjoyed that world, and I played 2 Horizon games this year, and I'm more than happy to play a third one.
Exactly.
That's
how I feel.
Yeah, Call of the Mountain was great for a VR game. Obviously, it wasn't phenomenal, but it was a fun VR game. This DLC got me hyped for the third game. Like I'm excited to play the third game because this game is basically 2.5. It ties into the next game. So because from what I'm gathering, I don't know if I don't know if I should spoil not the DLC but the ending of the second game. But I don't know. Does anyone mind if I say
what's the? I mean, from what I remember, at least, we can just express it with that.
It's gonna.
What's it? The Tim Curry meme. Just to, there's only one place left that's left. What like untouched
that capitalism
by
can't
by
reach.
capitalism.
Space. And then he laughs.
I think Horizon 3 is gonna be like in a different planet. Pretty sure.
I think it's going to be of great quality too, Seb. I think it's going to be on another planet too.
I don't. I get the vibe that's going to be like, it's either going to end in a different planet or it's going to take place on a different planet. But either way, I think there's going to be a moment where they go like in space and they go
where they have to like leave Earth. I wouldn't be surprised if it's more so like it's like in Horizon 3 there's another world-ending cataclysm, except this time they can't stop it, so they're just kind of forced to leave.
Yeah, which reminds me of the 100. If you ever seen that show,
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's on the CW. I actually really liked it. Exactly. It's a cool idea. To see if Earth was gone and people had to go to a different planet. Anyway, but I think we hit on everything, right? For the most part.
Yeah, it's a solid DLC. I recommend it, of course, for anybody who wants to play Horizon Forbidden West 2.5 Final Remix.
That's basically what it was.
Of course, it was great. I really recommend it. It has some problems, but I think it's about as good as the game itself. Plus, you get a really cool weapon, like Seb and I have been saying, that you can just fucking dominate with, and so it makes a lot of things in the past, like beating certain enemies or collecting certain things, much easier, because now you can just whoop some ass. It's a great game.
It's kind of like how in I was gonna say it's kind of like how in the at the end of the second game, when you not really much as well, like when you get the flying mount, you can basically just bypass all the early areas and all the early like platforming puzzles, just like fly to the top, get the item, fly back down.
I was doing that in the DLC too. I barely ever used the boat.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so that's Horizon 358 over 2 days, dream drop distance.
Exactly.
All right, it's 2.5. So let's talk about Dead Island 2, which I would say I'm like 5 to 6 hours into. I would say.
Yep.
So
how long ago did you buy it?
A week ago. I haven't really played this week.
Okay.
But I played here and there.
I didn't even know that you got it. I completely forgot.
Well, my dad actually bought it for me. I didn't have to buy it, which is
right.
Cool for him.
That's it. Did you end up getting it, James, or
Dead Island?
Yeah.
No.
No. Okay. I think you said you were thinking it, but
I'm gonna wait for a sale on that one.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair. I mean, I'll come right out and say it. I think this is probably, in my opinion at least, the best first-person zombie slasher shooter game that's come out in recent years. I haven't beat the game yet. I'm only about 12 hours in, and I've been doing a decent amount of collectibles and side quests and stuff. But I already think I like this more than Dying Light 2. And I forget exactly what I said last year when we chatted about it, but I quite liked the Dying Light 2 and the first Dying Light, I was talking about how back then it's every zombie game now needs parkour and all that stuff, but I'm having a ball with this game so far. I think the best thing I can say about it, at least in terms of how the game flows and how you manage everything, is the fact that it's not a big open world. It's I think 10 or 11 districts, small hub worlds, basically, the size of Borderlands. Borderlands is the best comparison I have to it, where it's you have all these different self-contained worlds that they're not big enough to be open worlds, but they're sizable and incredibly detailed, even more so than Borderlands. They're incredibly detailed to the point where you can literally just get lost in them.
Yeah,
I've gotten lost in this game so many times, good lost. I've just gone exploring and wandering on my own so many different times, and the way each of the levels and worlds kind of just fold back and on each other, it's like Resident Evil, where you're exploring and then you find shortcuts and how everything loops back in on itself. It's fantastic, well designed so far.
One of the best parts of this game is the decision to be linear. It's not super linear. Obviously you just follow one hallway down and that's it. But it's because the quests are linear by nature, it allows them to design a well-crafted world, more than if had they gone for a giant open world where a lot of the details would suffer and it would be barren. I think that's one of the advantages what The Last of Us does, where it's open area, where it's they can give as much detail as possible and give you a nice scenery instead of doing I don't know, Rage 2 or
exactly.
So I guess the problem with Dying Light, I think, I really like the Dying Light games. I played them back to back in the same month, and I really
the open worlds just became exhausting.
They became exhausting. With this game, I don't feel exhausted. I feel the pacing in this game is perfect. Even the missions are you run into someone, let's say I played today where I ran into this old actor and he had a rifle on the roof, and you basically just fight through his house and then kill his nephew. And that's the mission, and it's it was a perfect little side mission. That's what side missions should be. It wasn't.
And the great thing about it too is that as Seb said, the story, and we'll get back to the world design a bit, but the story of in all the missions and side missions are if you just take it at face value, it's simple. There's not much to it, but there's so much just proper environmental storytelling, and so many little notes and things that you can pick up that really kind of illuminate what's going on. That's it's completely optional too. You don't have to go exploring, you don't have to look into all this background stuff, but it's I think in that side mission or around it, I uncovered this whole side story about how I think the nephew was basically kind of leeching off the actor guy, or is he was stealing some of his money, and he had a whole crew and operation set up and stuff, and it's great little stuff like that, and that's hidden everywhere. It's not it's in the first and last area where it's that's where they put all their attention and detail and efforts into. It's no, that's for pretty much every single area in the game, or districts as they call them. In every single district, it's consistent.
Yeah, that's one of the best parts of Resident Evil is you piece the story together on your own. You don't have to. It doesn't just spell it out for you. You do it by the environment and by collecting notes and listening to the audio. And this game does a really good job of that. One thing I want to say while we're talking about the visuals is that this game looks really good. It's clean. It just runs smoothly. I haven't really had any problems. It was a very smooth game.
I think I had. And I might even be mistaking this for another game, but I think I only had one crash, and that was in the first hour, and that nothing else has happened since. No frame drops, no
no textures loading in weird, nothing like that.
Yeah, I like the only thing.
Flawless experience.
Yeah, I think the only thing I've seen is like sometimes like a body will like float in the air like for a second, but that's just basic video games. I don't like worry about that.
And it's funny because like the IGN review, I think like made a point to like mention like all the bugs and stuff that the guy saw in his review, but I haven't seen anything even close to that in my experience.
Yeah, that's my thing with when people review games with like bugs and glitches. It's like if it's like widespread, everybody's having that issue. Like that's one thing, but it's like sometimes it can be really subjective. Like sometimes someone's game just doesn't want to cooperate with them, and then other people have zero issues. So when I watch a review, I tend to like factor that in, like that seems more subjective than like a widespread problem. Like where I think performance is an issue in Jedi Survivor, which we'll talk about, where everybody's having that issue, and that I can understand because I'm having issues as well. But on this game is nearly flawless. I haven't had any issues, and not only that, but the character models and the designs of the zombies. Like the zombies are all like they're not just the same character model over and over. I mean, they are kind of, but there's enough diversity.
There's enough variety in them. Yeah,
you don't really notice.
Yeah.
But but the gore in this game, this is the best gore I've ever seen in a video game. Like probably the
100%.
Not even close. Like the gore in this game is just phenomenal. Like every swing of a weapon, like the jaw hangs off their face, and the decapitation is so satisfying, and
like eyeballs come out of sockets, and like I think
incredible.
the thing that really sold me on the gore in this game is that like when I was outside during the day and like I kind of like looked close and like what I think like I burned a zombie's face off or something, like a lot of the flesh was exposed, and I looked closely and you could see like little flaps of flesh just like sort of flapping around in the wind, like it was reacting to the wind, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, man. Like
when you burn the zombies or like put the acid on them and stuff, like their flesh just like, melts off, and it's incredible. Like it really looks amazing. If you're squeamish, this is not the game for you, because this game is probably the goriest game I've ever played, or up there. I think I can't think of another game.
And
I mean, even when you walk in a room, there's blood smeared all over the rooms, and like it's like super gory.
I think the thing, like Mortal Kombat is like they've got their fatalities obviously, but like that's in pre-recorded, pre-engineered cutscenes essentially, whereas this is done on the fly.
Yeah.
To like every enemy basically. Like this is like it's way more impressive than anything I'd say they could do with like in a Mortal Kombat or something, just because of how widespread and how well implemented the gameplay is. And
the weapons. I really like the weapon variety. I've switched my weapons around all the time. I mean, I'm using. I found like this. It's not legendary, but like this rare mace. That's like my main weapon. And I also have like the electrical machete. I've been using that. What character are you using? What character did you pick?
I'm using Danny, the Irish, I'm pretty sure Irish one.
Okay, so I'm using Jacob.
So she's
I'm using Jacob.
Yeah, right, okay, because like I think with Danny, like one of the first things she says is like, "Oh, feckin' hell," like she's very like says feck a lot, and yeah. I mean again, all the comparisons just come back to Borderlands, where it's like you have your characters, like they each have their own like little dialogue things, and like their own little reactions to certain gameplay and story moments. And like I think one thing, if I really had to say anything, the one thing I think the original Dead Island games did better is that the characters felt more unique there, because like in the first games you had like one character specialized in bladed weapons, another one specialized in blunt weapons, another specialized with hand-to-hand combat, another one specialized with guns. I don't know why anyone would pick the gun one though, because like you barely get any weapons at all in any of the games, or any guns in either of the games. But it's like, like here it's kind of like you have certain cards and like certain stat differences. I mean, obviously I haven't played with any of the other characters, so I'd have to see, but it's like I don't see it changing much.
like really like you choose a character in this game just based of like if you like the look of them or if you like their character, stuff like that. Like I think the actual stat RPG differences between them won't add up to much.
Yeah, what I liked about Jacob was it seemed like he was melee focused. Like his abilities are all about dodging and then swinging as much as possible. I think that's why I picked him. Is that he gets bonuses for
I think Danny was
swinging
similar
a lot.
I'm pretty sure like a lot of my like exclusive skill cards say like for Danny and Jacob only, and it's like I think they match up where it's like it's very much about stamina build up and like doing like minor damage boosts and stuff. Yeah.
Because I've gotten the hang of dodging really well. I've really
honestly, I'm not sure if you've already unlocked it, but the block and parry and counter is so much more effective. Like at first I'm like, yeah, dodge all the way, but the thing about like with the block is that like if you time it right, it basically opens up to like a counter where it's like essentially you can just beat down on a zombie, and you can like I've got a build set up right now where it's like if I counter or parry an enemy, I basically, if I kill them, I get a bunch of my health back. So I'm basically like never low on health at all in the game because the parry window is so forgiving that like basically like even if like you press the block button, like the second you get hit, you'll still probably get a parry and you can still regain health that way.
Can he block? Or is that
yeah, so because essentially like the weird I mean if you guys don't know, the weird way they do like the skill system in this game is that essentially you have cards instead of like a standard skill tree. So you have like and you have your ability card, so it's like you have an ability card for a dodge, or if you want to you can swap it out for a block, but it's like you have to like pick and choose. You can't just have all the abilities all at once.
Yeah, like cause I get the health for perfect dodging. I have that card. Which really comes in handy because I'm not really running low on health either, except for when I'm like fighting those big ones, the big zombies.
Yeah,
because they can be a pain in the butt, especially because I just got to the movie set mission, and that was probably the hardest section I've been at so far. I still wasn't that hard. I didn't die or anything, but it definitely had some moments.
But it's like
or I had to take advantage of the environment where I decided to like climb up on like the roof part. It was like a third level, and then as the zombies were climbing, I was swinging at them. So I had to think about it. While the rest of the game, I really haven't had to do that. But this game, because I don't find, I think this game is pretty easy. I haven't really had any like tough moments really.
Yeah, I mean, like you get some more there are some more later on, but it's like it's like more often than not, if I die, it's just because I neglected my health and didn't heal.
Yeah.
Like it's not because like something unless you just like intentionally go up against like an over-leveled enemy.
I think that's what it is.
You don't really die unless you don't really die unless you're just like really bad at observing where your health is at and whatnot.
Yeah, I think as long as you don't battle enemies way ahead of you or ahead of you, really, like this game is pretty easy.
Which rarely happens anyways. Yeah, like I think all the enemies generally.
If you stay on the same level, pretty much, this game is not. I would say it's easy as long as you stay around the same level of the enemies around you. Like if you go to a higher area, then this game turns into like it's like it gets 100 times harder. Like I think like with the combat as well, I've heard a lot of people online say that it gets repetitive, and it's like sure, I guess, but it's like for when you've got the goal system and like all the finishes and stuff, that keeps it like really entertaining. But I think the other thing as well is just that I think, like there's enough of a variety of enemies, especially as you get later on, like once you get past like, once you get a Venice Beach, which I think is like halfway through the game, that's when they start introducing some more enemy types, and that's when you start to get some hands on some different weapon types and stuff. Sure.
And
I mean,
it's sure it's the same gameplay, but it's like, you kind of know what you're getting into. Like if you've played the other two Dying Light games, you've played this one. Yeah. But at the same time, this one is just leagues beyond the others. Like granted, they're like 9-10 years old at this point, but yeah, like it's way beyond. The enemy. I was gonna say
the enemy variety is like even early on. Is enemy variety. You got the runners that run at you. You got the ones that have like wasps around them. You got the basic.
Yeah, exactly.
You got the basic zombies. You got the big giant.
Like
ones,
I'd say,
the Hulk ones.
100%. Like, I think that, like, the only thing I'd possibly criticize is the fact that, like, I wish there were more unique enemy types of, like, unique ways to kill them. It's like, like, say an enemy that requires you to use a certain element on them, or to, just like wait for them to stop attacking, stuff like that. But it's like, it's not needed. And it's like then again, it's like, like this game really does kind of feel designed for just like, you and a few buddies just to hop on and just like kill a bunch of zombies. It's like, I feel like, if you start to get to like really concise about, okay, like we have to have this enemy that requires these steps to take down and whatnot, you're just kind of missing the point of what this game is and what this game is meant to be.
Yeah.
Which I can't really complain with either way.
It's meant to be just a silly beat up zombie game. It's not trying to be anything more than that, which is totally okay.
And 100%. And like I mean, I know I'm playing Jedi Survivor at the moment because that's, more recent, and I don't want the internet to spoil what happens in it, obviously, but I can't wait to get back into this game and finish it off. And it's not because the story, because like the story is paint by numbers, but it's like you don't come to a game like this for the story. Yeah, exactly. You don't really come for the story.
Yeah,
it's stupid I mean, fun. Like a lot of this, a lot of the side missions are where it's at though. Like they're really the ones that kind of like, put you in interesting scenarios and make you kind of listen to what's going on. I mean again, more so kind of like the environmental storytelling. Like I think, I'm not sure if you guys have heard it, but it's like one of the best examples is how in the Beverly Hills, like the LA Hills area, you come across essentially like this influencer group house, and in one of the rooms you can break into, you basically see like a whole setup, and it's like got like a whiteboard with like an apology written out, and it's like got like notes like pause to cry or something like that, or stuff like that, where it's like it's ripping on basically contemporary like influencer culture and stuff. It's like it's not like it's not GTA or anything where it's like a biting satire of anything, but it's like it's taking the piss out of everyone to the point where it's like like they're having fun with it. You know?
It actually does what Saints Row and Borderlands 3 wanted to be. Which is like like making fun of millennial humor, but like actually would actually be funny and entertaining, which those two games were not. They were too try hard. This game actually accomplishes what it wants to be, which is satire of LA. Because this whole story, the whole game takes place in LA, like a quarantined LA, and you're basically trying to escape LA. And LA, Los Angeles being the main place where all that stuff comes from. Is perfect setting for making fun of influencers. Like there's like one section where I had to beat up all the zombies on the roof for this girl so she can record a video, and I like that you recruit, like once you do the side missions, you basically recruit them to go to the other lady's house. Like once you
the safe house.
I like that. It's like I always like that idea of like recruiting people. Which Star Wars does too, which we'll talk about. But like I think this is like probably I would say it's probably the biggest surprise of the year, and it's probably going to stay that way because I don't think anyone expected 100%. This game to be as good as it is. And not only that, any game that like usually is in development hell for like 10 years usually becomes like just turns out to be garbage. And this game is actually a quality good game, which I don't even agree with the reviews. I think this game is in the 80s if I had to review it. Like
100%, I'd agree. It's like it's at an 8 for me right now.
Yeah, I'll give it an 8.
Like it's Like I really don't have any solid complaints with it. Like it's probably the game that's, I mean, besides Resident Evil 4, like it's probably launched in the best state out of any of the like big AAA games this year. It's like it does what it says on the tin. Like it's fun. Like no complaints at all, really.
Yeah.
Like I think literally, if I had to nitpick, I'd say that I essentially a few nights ago I essentially spent an hour running around because like the game objective said that I had to like enter this hotel area like later on, and essentially there's like a roller shutter door, and like it has a switch that it just says press square to open. So I pressed square and it just kind of like nothing would happen. So I ran around for like an hour in the whole world, like like trying to figure out like, oh, okay, is there a second entrance I need to go through? Is there something else? And then what I figured out I had to do is that instead of pressing square, I had to hold it. but it gave me the press square prompt. So like I thought I was doing something wrong, but no. And it's like, you know, like that's literally like the only criticism I have is that I didn't press square. Oh no, I didn't hold square instead of pressing it. Like,
well,
like, you know, like I basically spent an extra hour in the game running around when I could have just gone straight to the objective. But like that's really the only complaint I can really levy at the game.
I mean, it's crazy considering
that's where I'm at.
It's crazy considering this game has had 3 developers work on it. Like, and it's like we had Jaeger Development,
like you had the
then
Step
Sumo
Up the
Digital
Line guys on it at some stage, yeah.
And then you have Dam Buster Studios, which their games have not been very great. Like they made Homefront, The Revolution, and Chorus.
I remember.
So.
Yep. Like I remember seeing that Dan Buster was doing it. I'm like, oh no,
like,
it's probably gonna end up.
It doesn't be a train wreck, and it actually ends up being a quality game, which is. Oh.
Yeah, like I'd say, unless you know another few games come out throughout the rest of the year that really blow me away, I would not be surprised if this is top 5 or like maybe top 6 games of the year for me.
For me,
I mean, for you probably not, but like I think for me,
me it's comfortably like 7. It's gonna maybe in that range.
Yeah.
But
I'd say that. Yeah.
The only game that I can see surpassing it as in like the most surprise game of the year would be Silent Hill 2 because I have no faith in Blooper Team. So that's like
that's if it comes out this year. But yeah,
if it comes out this year. So that. Yeah, like I'm really shocked how good this game is. Like it's a quality game. I actually recommend it for $70. Like I would too. I have no problem saying you should get it for full price. Normally I would tell you this kind of game to wait, but this game is actually so fun that I would say get it full price.
Like I mean, James, like I do understand waiting for sale, especially with like other games coming out at the moment. But I'd say if you had the money, definitely try and spring for it whenever you can because it's a ton of fun.
I'll probably jump on it like the first sale.
All right.
No matter how, like even if it's only a tenner off.
All right. So final topic of the night, which is going to be Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Now, before we start, we're not going to get any spoilers because none of us are that far in the game anyway, and James hasn't even played it yet.
I'm an hour into the demo.
So
this is looking really good.
This is purely going to be impressions. The next episode we'll have more of a spoiler cast, not like spoiler cast, but more of a deep dive into the game. This is just going to be a general overview of the game so far.
So I'm really enjoying it so far.
Watching the numbers move, the bar is going really well.
Great gameplay.
Well, what did you actually get it on, James? Was it PlayStation or PC?
PC, because I subscribe to EA Play.
God have mercy on your soul.
For £15.
Yeah.
Well,
you can get EA. You can get EA Play on PlayStation though.
Not EA Play Pro. So EA Play Pro is exclusive to PC, and that's the only one that has games on at launch.
EA Play on PlayStation is garbage. Yeah, EA Play on PlayStation is garbage. They put zero effort.
I mean, I literally only just I subscribed to EA Play just so I could just get the discount on because they give you a 10% discount. So I just bought it so I could get the discount on Dead Space and now this. Yeah, exactly. Like you
save
it's
$2.
What
basically?
Well, I mean, because it's I think the regular edition's $125 in Australia, but it's with the 10% discount, it comes down to $110. So it's spend $7 for the EA Play discount. Technically, it's only $7 saved when all is said and done. But
in the US, it is $5 for EA Play a month, and then the game is $70. I think it's and you get an $8 discount, I believe. So you save $8. So it's with the subscription.
Yeah.
But if you pay $5 the moment before you buy the game, then you save $3 basically. So
yeah, so I
it's still worth it. Save $3.
If we're talking numbers here,
don't forget to unsubscribe. I've done that before.
I literally did that this morning. I'm just oh yeah, shit. Let me unsubscribe.
The PlayStation one is so garbage. They only have PS4 games and that's it. There's no
let me.
Anyway,
play view games.
Anyway, so Jedi Survivor is the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order, which I think is a quality, very good Star Wars game. It's from Respawn, which I think is EA's best developer. Even though
we didn't talk about it, but since you mentioned Respawn, I like about a month ago or so, I had the good fortune to finally play Titanfall 2. Literally one of my favorite first-person shooters of all time now. It is just such an incredible game. So yeah, I already liked Respawn, and then I played Titanfall 2, and I was like, wow. I mean, yeah, this is incredible.
I mean, EA has just been fantastic the last few years.
EA has been doing well with their indies and with their.
I think the hatred now is more based on reputation from like a decade ago now compared to what they're actually doing.
Yeah, exactly.
But either way, Jedi Survivor is the same. It's pretty much the same game as Jedi Fallen Order. It's just it's improved on in many ways. Like it's like a sequel.
Everything.
It's essentially
the same like concept. But it's just improved on in every way.
I mean, I'm only I just got to chapter 3. And I will already say that Cal Kestis is such a better protagonist than he is in the first game. He's so improved.
Oh my god.
The voice acting's better, his motivations are better, he's a more complicated character, the struggles that he's engaging in are better. He's just a much more interesting character than he is in Fallen Order, and I love Fallen Order, but he's just a much better character here than he is in the first one.
It's kind of insane as well, because it's like, like before this came out, like you'd look to Cal before Survivor came out, like you'd look to Cal in Fallen Order and be like, yeah, like, like he's a good character, he's fine. But then now that we have Survivor here to compare it to, you kind of look back on Fallen Order like, oh my god, like not to say it was like retroactively bad or anything, god no, but
I thought he was fine in the first game, insane. But you see the difference.
It was like, I mean, yeah, but it, like when it came out, it's like, oh yeah, like everyone was like clamoring for Cal. Like, I mean, they've been saying it for years, and they're saying it even more now that like he should be in a live action show or movie or something.
He should.
But people were saying that because they loved Cal the character from Fallen Order. And now to think that with Jedi Survivor, he's just leagues better and improved. Like, like so many more people are going to be wishing that now.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Cameron Monaghan is a fantastic actor. I mean, I loved him in all the stuff he's been in. And also, he's only 29. He's the same age. I'm actually older than him, which is crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, I am too. Which, wow. But yeah. I thought it was great. I saw this YouTube short where they were doing an interview with the game directors, and they brought out Cameron, and he was like, "Guys, I have a really big concern. All right, we got to talk about something." He's like, "Where are the ponchos? Like, we got to talk. I have not seen ponchos, and I'm not agreeing to this interview until we do ponchos." And like, Cameron, this is great.
You know what's funny is that actor. I don't know if you ever watched Malcolm in the Middle, Dory. But
yes,
I did not growing up. I did not.
He was in this. He played that kid that had like problems with the spiky ginger hair.
The neurotic kid.
The neurotic kid.
The OCD. Yeah.
Who knew he would end up being on like Shameless and become a huge Star Wars actor? It's insane.
I literally just started Shameless like a couple weeks ago, and I'm like on to season 2 now. So it's just weird going from him and that.
I love that show so much.
To being a Jedi.
Oh yeah, like. Yeah, he has so many. He has so many sex scenes in that show. So like,
oh my god,
it's pretty wild seeing him go from not just sex scenes, but like gay sex scenes. He's a gay character. So.
Yeah.
But anyway,
well, so going from one performance issue to another, heyo. But seriously, I mean, like the elephant in the room about this game is the performance issues. I'm playing on PS5. I have. Same. Performance mode on. Same. I have all the filters off. It runs smoothly mostly. I will say that there are some pop-ins. There are some despawning and respawning things that occur throughout the environment that are not good and that kind of look bad. I think honestly, this gameplay and everything else so far in this game is blowing me away. It is just the performance that's the issue. If it was not for the performance, honestly, this would probably beat out Hi-Fi Rush for me. But as it stands, like it's probably going to be my top 5, like maybe 3, but it's probably not going any higher than that.
The internet's, I think the internet's really blowing it out of the water. Seriously, like I mean, I'm sure like PC is probably worse, but at least on PS5. It's
on PS5. It's been fun. The biggest issue I had with it was like night one, where it just came out, and every now and then it would feel like there was a little, like Mitch and I were talking about this. There was like a little like stutter or glitch or just a second. And like I didn't know if it was fucking seeing things, and like the next day I turned it on and it was fine, and I haven't had that problem since. So I don't know what the fuck was going on.
My problem is the visual. I haven't had like problem with the frame rate. Like it's been okay, I guess. Like I have some dips, but I haven't really nothing jumped out at me. But the visuals are just sometimes they're like, ugh, what's going on here? Because character models are rough. Like it needs a patch.
Really,
it really needs a patch.
I was gonna say, if anything, the environments, at least like in the draw distance for me, have been
draw distance is really bad sometimes.
No, the environment too.
I ran really far, like I ran really fast into this cantina, and the entire place like kind of like funkily lit.
Like when it's like basic setting around it, the character models are fantastic. It's when it's like an action sequence and it's in real time with the engine. It looks it looks chunky. It just doesn't look right. Like it needs a patch. And then, like, when you're in that open area, like when you first go on the first planet to find your friend in the bar and all that, the whole game just dropped and everything. Like, the distance looked off. The character models looked off. It got blurry. The performance was
I really think, and I know, like, some people might get upset at this, I really think they should have taken another 3 months, 6 months to iron this. I'm not sure. I'm not a game dev.
I was thinking about it. The way I see it, I think Respawn or EA, whoever, or like, no, we kind of need to release it now. Because, like, if you think about it, in, like, you know, if we're talking about, you know, business-wise versus quality-wise, yes, they absolutely should have, like, for quality reasons, PR reasons probably too, they absolutely should have delayed it an extra few months. But I think the reason they chose to keep it to now is that, you know, for one, Zelda's coming out in like less than a month's time, so that's probably going to just take over the internet for like at least a month or two, similar to how Elden Ring did last year. And like, you know, on the other hand, you've got, you know, Star Wars Day, May the 4th, that's coming up in less than like next week, literally.
Thursday.
And Thursday. And then for another one, like, you're right, like in terms of SEO, it's probably at an all-time high for Star Wars right now, because we've just had Star Wars Celebration a couple weeks ago. Mando finished up like last week. You've got a bunch of news about you've got a bunch of news about other Star Wars stuff. Like for better or worse, mostly worse. I totally understand why they chose to release it now. Yeah,
I get all that.
I get why they did.
I'm just saying, fuck all that. They should have waited another 3 to 6 months. But yes, I agree. I understand the SEO. The SEO is with them.
Yeah.
Similar to the Force.
You could have easily put it in July or August. There's nothing really out those months.
Easily.
I think they should have put it right around my birthday, just for me specifically. But I
think July would have been perfect, because July is right after Final Fantasy and Diablo and Zelda. Like everything's already out, so like July has nothing really in it.
I think it's kind of funny because
like.
I think there's a reason games don't generally release in July. I don't know what the reason is, but I think there is a reason sales-wise.
Whatever reason it is, it's bullshit, because I have off of both school and work. So give me some video games
assumption.
Well, I think that's it. It's just summer break. Yeah.
My assumption is that's. I don't know actually. Because I would guess
because
they assume people are going to go out. People are going to go outside and not really play games. I guess.
Exactly.
But the games come out in June though, so in May. So I don't know.
I think that's as well. That's a more recent thing. They never used to. But then Nintendo. I think Nintendo kind of kept releasing them then anyway, and they got good sales or something. I don't know.
I don't know what the answer is.
I'm not as far in the game as you guys, but so far I'm getting a
got the bar.
0 FPS.
Yeah, some really tough FPS issues so far.
So, like I said, it's not like horrendous. Like I played Pokemon, the new Pokemon game, and I was Scarlet and Violet, so I was fine with it. So I can tolerate
Gotham
it.
Knights was
and Gotham Knights had
Gotham Knights
issues.
was like a much worse, and that was still like capped at 30, and that was worse.
Yeah, it was much worse. And I still platinumed it, so it is what it is. But
yeah, I played.
Granted, Gotham Knights they smoothed out, and they'll smooth this out as well.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not excusing this. because I definitely think it's a fair criticism that
Yes,
games for
agreed.
$70 should not.
I was gonna say that. I also want to agree with Seb. I paid $75 for this goddamn game. I just feel like this is an unacceptable quality for a game.
Yeah.
That I paid that much for. I don't understand. I paid $75 for this, and it's like it feels like a day one patch. Still didn't do it. I think the day one patch just came with my game because I never had to update it.
I've been trying to update. I've been checking for update every day or like every morning and night. Nothing's come up.
I don't even know.
So yeah. Well, sorry. What were you gonna say though, James?
Oh, I was just gonna say that I played Cyberpunk at launch. So I have a pretty high tolerance for.
Yeah, I played. Yeah, I beat Cyberpunk. I beat Cyberpunk 2077 on the PS4 on launch week.
My God.
And I beat it.
Jesus Christ,
so
dude.
Yeah. So
okay, I'm no longer like the biggest badass in this podcast. Like I know I platinum Doom Eternal, but I'll give my trophy, not the platinum trophy. I'll just give my biggest badass trophy over to you for actually managing to complete Cyberpunk.
To be fair, I already
on PS4.
To be fair, I already had that trophy. Like, I mean, I have 300 and something platinums. I have the platinum and stuff.
I have
the platinum in Elden Ring. Yeah.
All right.
I have platinum Dark Souls. No.
But look. The takeaway here is that none of us are excusing this shit.
Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern game on PS3
so did I.
as my trophy. Oh, son of a bitch.
I platinum that as well. I platinum Puss in Boots. I
platinum a movie. That's incredible.
I platinum Rango. I platinumed Megamind.
Oh my god!
So don't even test me.
Debaucherous.
I played those movie PS3 games for easy platinums, so don't test.
Oh my god.
Anyway, but yeah, it's not, the performance is not acceptable. But
yes.
But get past that. Gameplay is really, really good.
Yes.
I love the story. I'm so invested in the story and characters. Like,
agreed.
I mean, I'm already.
Agreed.
You already know I'm a giant Star. It's my favorite IP in the entire world. I'm Star Wars everything. But I absolutely love these characters. Don't get me wrong, because I'm very negative about some parts of Star Wars too. But anyway, Cal is a really great character. I think I love all the side characters around him. I think they're a great cast. I think I love the idea of like this dystopian fascist like tone to this game. Like
yes,
like the very first sequence of the game when you're a prisoner, basically. I'm not gonna see what happens, but like it has like this like dystopian feel to it. Like you're seeing all the problems with the Empire and like the security everywhere, and people are being watched.
I think it works really well too, because it kind of flips the script on the way that these games often work. Because usually in the sequel, right, a lot of the problems from the first game have been solved. The characters are living happily, and then a big conflict happens.
Yeah.
But in this game, it starts off with a big conflict. Things feel hopeless. Cal feels like he's not making any progress. Things seem like they're just not getting anywhere anymore, and he's just considering giving up. And I feel like that's a lot more.
This feels like, I'm assuming this is gonna be a trilogy. I don't know what's gonna happen in this game because I haven't played it.
Yeah, it's a trilogy. Yeah.
But I'm assuming like this feels like the Empire Strikes Back of the trilogy, where it's like we're right in the middle of like Empire at its peak. I don't know if this is before the Death Star blows up or not. I'm getting the feeling, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm getting the feeling, like, because it feels so hopeless right now, that some event's gonna happen for the rebels that's gonna make them feel hopeful. So I don't know what's gonna happen.
I'm pretty sure if I have it correctly, Jedi Fallen Order picks up like 5 years after Order 66, and then this takes place 5 years after that game. So
we're still not there yet. Okay.
Yeah, no, like Luke, like timeline wise, would probably be like this. If anything, I'm pretty sure this would take place after Kenobi, even.
Yeah,
that's, like, if I have the timeline right.
I remember correctly, Death Star blows up like 19 or 20 years after Revenge of the Sith, I think. So yeah, this is still before that.
Yeah.
My point is, Death Star blowing up is what changes the entire like war. Like it shows that rebels are actually not just like these little bunch of people, but have a actual real chance of winning, which they obviously do at some point.
The thing I'll say as well quickly is that the fact that the best thing about the story so far is that it takes place 5 years after the first game.
Yeah, because Cal is Cal is fully experienced. He
like
yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say
somebody
like,
called
as you said, he's
Nomura.
fully
Somebody called like the people behind Metroid. You don't have to start your character all the way fucking over. Sorry, Mitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I hate when games do
like
that.
I
By the way.
think he's not like he's experienced. He hasn't really regressed like in terms of his abilities, unless you count like your health bar.
I mean, this game has a lot of exposition like that. Like, oh, you remember when this happened like on this planet 2 years ago? And
it's not too bad.
It's not too bad.
You know,
no, it's fine. It's fine.
It's notable, but I agree. It's not too bad.
Yeah, like I love it when you can properly, like, especially for a sequel, when there's enough time that has passed that you like get to feel like you're discovering it all over again.
Yeah.
You know, like the Avatar 2 thing. It's like, you know, like so much of the fun I had, especially for that first like hour or two, is that you feel like you're exploring this like Pandora again. Like you feel like you're experiencing it for the first time just because so much has changed, and like you're getting to see how everyone has progressed and what everyone's doing in the meantime.
Exactly.
And like just kind of like getting to like see the end point of just like, you know, so much off-screen character development.
Yeah, that's
awesome. And like and the problem with Star Wars, or at least the fandom, is that so many people just want, you know, like kind of like all this expanded material lore about like, oh, you know, like, oh, we need a movie or a TV show set in between these movies, or we need like a book and like something like detailing everything that happened to a character in between this. Like, no, just let stuff happen off screen.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't want to explore I don't really care for a movie about the very first Jedi, or you know, about how like, you know, they invented the AI that, you know, was put into all of the droids and stuff like I don't need
or how
stuff like that.
Got his fuzzy dice.
That's fair.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't need stuff like that explained. I'm happy just it being off screen.
I mean, I think most Star Wars fans would agree with you. No, I don't. Most Star Wars fans don't like those kind of things. They don't like those shoe-in lore.
Well, to an extent. I mean, like I feel like it's the Dave. I mean, this is like going into a bigger Star Wars tangent, but like this is the Dave Filoni problem, where it's like so many people are just looking forward to fan service and seeing characters like Cal on the big screen or in live action, where it's like just let them kind of be their own thing, you know, like appreciate what we have. Don't go clamoring for a freaking General Grievous TV show.
Yeah.
Why do we need that?
Although I would say the Filoni universe has done a good job with that, like where the Star Wars Rebels characters have popped up in Mando season 3, and they look fantastic, and they play a vital role in the whole story anyway. So they're not just shooting for a cameo; they actually serve a purpose.
I mean,
so
I think my problem is that like with where like Star Wars has really lost me, especially with like I haven't watched past episode 3 of Mando. I vaguely know what happens, but I'm like, they just lost me. And part of the reason is because like it really feels like with Dave Filoni getting more and more grip over these TV shows, it's just like everything's looping back in on itself. Like I couldn't get through, you know, part of Clone Wars or nearly remotely all of it because so much is just pointless filler. And it's like, you know, sure, like it makes the actual episodes and moments that are important stand out more, but it's like, why do I want to commit to a TV show or a, you know, a franchise where so much of it is just pointless filler?
That is
only to get to like a few episodes that it's like when they actually do become important.
Yeah.
I suddenly have to know.
Sure.
You know, this expanded universe comic, or I have to be familiar with, you know, like this deleted scene from Clone Wars that never got shipped between Boba Fett and Cobb Vanth or something like that. You know, it's like, it's like I don't want to have to consult a YouTube explain video.
Sure.
Just to enjoy my media.
I don't think it's that bad. I don't think you have to do all of that.
It's not that bad, but it's like I feel like I'm kind of I'm just saying, like I'm stepping off the train early because like I feel like that's where it's headed.
I mean, it's like Marvel is if you even then,
exactly.
Is
it's the same problem with Marvel.
No, the thing is, I'll say Marvel's better because Marvel is very clear in that, like, okay, this is the movie, this is the next movie. Even if they're not in the same franchise, if this is Thor, this is Captain America, they're still very clear about this is the thing you need to watch. Then this.
They're all contained within like a timeline.
Yeah, they're all and like the same kind of marketing window, like. kind of they're all marketed to the same people and all that kind of thing. But Star Wars is dotted all over the place. Like I don't even know. Like there's probably Star Wars shows and movies I'm not even aware of. You know, so it's a whole different ballgame.
For the Filoni-verse, you don't need to know all you need to know, because he's the one in charge of Star Wars right now. Like all the Star Wars based on his characters that he created and all that.
Yeah. Or like
all you need to know is the Clone Wars show, Rebels, and Mando. That's it. If you watch those shows, then, you're fine.
Clone Wars itself is like what, a couple hundred episodes?
I would say this: if you're a Star Wars fan, you need to watch Rebels, or you're gonna be totally lost, because the Ahsoka show that's coming out ties into Rebels, because they're looking for Ezra, and Duran's missing, and that's what happens at the end of Rebels, and everything ties into Rebels. Like all the cameos, Hera, Zeb, Chopper, all them. Those are all key giant Star Wars characters now. Like they're the main cast of Star Wars. So if you don't know any of these characters, you're totally behind. Like you don't have to watch Bad Batch or anything. I don't think that really. You don't have to watch that as much. The cool thing about that show is you get to see like what happened to the clones after Order 66. Like what happened to the Empire took over. Like you see what happened to the clones, like how they were treated, and all that. But all you need to watch is Clone Wars, Rebels, Mando, and that's it. And you're all set.
I think that,
and Boba Fett. If you
but kind of like similar to what
So it's not that bad. It's not confusing at all.
Just what was it's not necessarily that it's bad, but it's like I think the reason Marvel is at least more accessible at the moment is because like their expanded universe, like their TV shows and stuff, are like 6-8 episodes. Whereas like Rebels is like a few dozen spread across multiple seasons. Like you know, it's like because at least with Marvel, it's like, you know, say if you're going into No Way Home, you'd be like, you know, like I mean, really, like the main things you'd have to watch were WandaVision and potentially Doctor Strange hadn't come out yet, but it's like, and you know, like all the other Spider-Man movies, but it's like they're movies, you know, it's like a couple hours, cool, bang, done. Whereas with Star Wars, it's like, you know, we'd be talking like a couple dozen hours, I'd assume, to get through all of Rebels for about 8 hours of television.
But really quick, just
if not less.
I think the thing is those shows were made for Cartoon Network and Disney XD and all that, so they're designed to be long seasons. What you got to do is treat it like you gotta treat it like an anime. Look at the most important episodes and watch them only, and skip the filler. There is a lot of filler in those shows. Skip the filler, watch the main episode. I'm saying, if you like Star Wars, you need to watch the shows. There's huge moments with Ahsoka and Darth Vader, and it moves everything forward. You're gonna be totally lost with the Ahsoka show if you start watching it. Yeah, you just gotta do. But let's get back to the game, really, because we're getting on a tangent.
Yeah, let's get back to the game.
So so the gameplay is really fun. The traveling is so much better in this game than in the first game.
You can actually fast travel.
You can actually fast travel, which is a big difference.
Yes.
Yep.
I'd say like
you have mounts. You have ground mounts and flying mounts.
Yeah, I haven't actually interacted with any of them yet because
I'm like slightly ahead of y'all.
Like it says I'm only 4 hours into it, but I'd say
I will say the ground mount
is doing.
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say about like half of my play time has been, you know, obviously doing story stuff, but the other half was literally just before I just landing on
really quick,
like Kobo. Yeah.
All right, never mind. We're good. Never mind. It kind of froze for a little bit. We're good now.
Oh, right. Like half my playtime is just exploring the outskirts of Kobo. Like, but even before I met Grease, that's whatever. Even before I met a certain character, I was just exploring and finding all these hidden side areas and getting all these upgrades early, and just coming across all this stuff that, you know, it's like generally you'd find later on, I'd say, because most people just beeline for the main story. But it's like I spent like at least a couple hours just exploring stuff, and there's so much to do. But it's like it's never an overwhelming amount. Like same thing with Dead Island 2. It's similar to Dead Island 2, where it's like the worlds are expansive enough where you can get lost in them, but it's never overwhelming. Like you always find yourself back on the path and whatnot.
All right, so yeah, you're right. Like, there is a lot to do, and I hope I don't know yet, because I'm going to beat the story first and then get the collectibles, because that's what the trophy guys recommend, because you can't even do half the stuff until you get all the abilities anyway. But I do hope that I don't have to like spend another 25 hours collecting everything, because that was one thing I hated about the first game. Even though I really loved that game, it got really tedious backtracking. And now this game has fast travel and all that, so I'm sure it's gonna be better. But it's still, I'm not looking forward to collecting things like that.
Yeah, from what I heard, you don't have to like 100% collect everything, like at least all the collectibles or cosmetics to get the platinum. But unless they've patched it up since, the platinum is currently unobtainable because like a certain item is just not spawning.
Yeah, it's bugged. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's missable.
Oh, I mean, actually, no, hold on. It's saying, is it missable?
There's two trophies there's one trophy that's missable, but you get that pretty easily. You have to use your companion to kill enemies. But there's another trophy that like for the I forgot what they're called, but they're the points. If you catch them, if you get them all, and it didn't register that you got it, you get glitched out of the trophy completely, and you can't. There's no manual save in this game, so you're screwed in that playthrough. So you really should manually put your save in the cloud before you do that last trophy. So now if you don't care about trophies, this is like irrelevant to you, but for me, I'm going to get the platinum in this game, so I'm like, that's on top of my, it's definitely on top of my head, like, oh, I gotta watch out for this, because I fully plan on platinuming Dead Island 2 and this game. So it seems pretty reasonable. Platinum, it's just collecting things and doing forced stuff.
It seems to be the same thing as the like Jedi Fallen Order platinum, where it's like at first it seems daunting, but then like once you get into it, it's like they just pop off quite easily.
Yeah, it's not that bad. Honestly, the biggest issue I had with that game was just the backtracking. If this game doesn't even have close to that level of backtracking, then this platinum will be way easier for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
So we hit on the gameplay and the performance issues, and the story's great. We all care. I think we hit on everything, right? Like anything else you want to talk about before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, I will point out that it's kind of funny. The IGN review that I watched also points this out, but the ground mount is actually not really that much faster than Cal. He's runs so fast that he's like that. Yeah, he's like slightly faster, but and obviously like
it's not a big factor in this game. Yeah.
Yeah. It can get it.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
He can get up certain the creature can get up certain environmentals. I want to say the puzzles too. The puzzles have been pretty good. I've done one of the optional Jedi Temple puzzle places. It was one of those puzzles that was like kind of simple, but I felt really smart after I was done with it. So it's like the perfect puzzle for me.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't really that tough, but once I beat it, I was like, oh, I did that all on my own. I didn't even need a guide. And then the puzzles more generally, they feel, pretty pretty generally good in terms of like how well you can handle them.
Accessible, you mean?
Accessible, thank you. Pretty accessible in terms of being able to complete them without looking at guides.
Yeah.
Last thing I'll mention is that you can finally dual wield. You can finally fight like Ahsoka, which is fucking awesome. I really wanted that in the first game, and even Respawn was like, yeah, we wanted to put that in, but we ran out of time.
It's my favorite style.
Yeah, it's my favorite style too. That and the dual wielding, I'll never stop. It's an excellent game. I really think the only thing holding this thing back right now for me for saying it's on par with Resident Evil or Hi-Fi is just the performance issues.
Yeah, like I really love the styles. I'm using the dual blade and I'm using the staff as a combination, which is fantastic. And I love the customization you can do with Cal and BD. Like there's so much customization in this game. Now it's kind of weird collecting a beard in a chest, but
yes, very strange.
But it is, the customization in this game is really cool. Like I found a bun for Cal, which I didn't really like on him. I found a couple beards. You can give him a baby face. I kind of like the stubble because it makes it seem like he aged a bit.
I do. Yeah, I agree with that.
I had a look at the like clean shaven option. I'm like, nah, stubble it is.
Yeah, stubble.
Like only I.
And
can
then I looked at him having a full beard, and I'm like, that looks wrong too. So I was like, stubble just feels right. I think it's the trailers. They just biased me towards thinking that the canonical him would have stubble but wouldn't have a full-on beard.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what I was gonna say about
Exactly.
the fast like the mounts, ground mounts, is that it seems like it was more of a selling point from the PR, but like in the game itself, it's not really a factor. I think it doesn't really be needed.
I will. One last thing I'll mention is the customization. Since we're talking about that, they've definitely upped their game. The customization. I don't really care. Like I customized BD1 a little bit. I customized Cal a little bit.
So many options.
There's so many fucking options.
I spent I spent 10 minutes customizing my lightsaber.
Okay, so Seb's like one of those people. I'm not one of those people. Yeah. I went for the whole hermit pack, and then I did a couple things for Cal, a couple things for BD1. I was like, that's cool. Never gonna look at that again.
Did you do the Obi-Wan like costume? Because I feel like that would bother me in like story wise, like seeing him in like Obi-Wan outfit in the cutscene.
Yeah, I looked at it. I didn't pick it. I picked his survival garb or whatever it was.
Yeah, I briefly picked the hermit option, but like you can change colors on it, so I just made it into yellow because like I've got Cal with like a yellow lightsaber, yellow colored blades.
I have
so
green.
I just like sort of so like like I do like that you can customize all that though.
What color did you pick, Mitch?
Yellow.
Yeah, you picked yellow too.
Yeah,
nice.
I did green. Green's always blue's my favorite color in general, but in Star Wars,
y'all haven't gotten as far as I have. But I'm very excited for you to get to a certain part that's very close, because it's very cool that you, Mitch, that you picked yellow, and you'll see why. But I won't say any more than
that. Okay. I think I know why, but yeah,
because to me, I feel like green always represents like a Jedi like master or a Jedi Knight. Like it feels like when someone's like they've reached the peak of their power, they usually have green.
I want to be an edgy gray Jedi like Ahsoka or in KOTOR. So I wish that they would like let me do like some gray Jedi shit, but I'll probably never get that game.
That's KOTOR kind of stuff. RPG kind of thing.
Yeah. No, I know. I wish they would do it, but they're never going to make a game like this for Great Jedi.
Well, if we ever get that KOTOR remake at some point.
That's true.
Yeah. But I love the customization of the lightsabers. Like you get all the colors like right off the bat. You can pick any color you want. I almost did purple, but I was like, I just love green too much. So that's my. But yeah, like customization is really good. Gameplay is really good. Story's good. Its performance is really just bringing this game down. Like this game, I would still give it a 9 at this point. Still, like I think the performance has not killed my fun for the game yet. But I don't know. We'll see. But there was definitely a performance drop when I was in that open section. Like once I got to like a linear section, I didn't even notice any issues. It was just it could not handle a giant map. So, which is not a good thing because most of this game's that. But it still hasn't killed my fun for the game. But I might be biased too though because I am a giant Star Wars fan and I tend to be more positive about Star Wars than other people, except for the sequel trilogy. Anyway, so
you had to say it. Yeah. You had to say it.
Anyway, I think that's everything. So does anyone have anything else to say before we stop? Just so.
I'm excited to finish it.
Same.
Yes.
I'm excited to keep playing. I'll probably start playing once the pod's done, or if not, soon after.
Yes.
So I'm very excited.
Because my goal is to get the platinum in Dead Island 2 and this game in 2 weeks, because 2 weeks is when Zelda comes out. So, and when Zelda comes out, that's it. Like that's.
I'm gonna ask an awkward question. I don't think any of us are getting it. This isn't even a question anymore. Sorry, I don't think any of us are getting it besides Seb, right? Is that true?
Right. I'm not.
Okay, I'm not either.
I'm not.
Oh my god!
No interest.
It's probably gonna win Game of the Year. You're not even. No.
Seb, when we do the review of that game, I love Zelda. If you can sell me on that game, even though I didn't like Breath of the Wild, I will be very impressed.
I'm not sure I'm going to though, because it's probably gonna be like God of War Ragnarok, where it's like it's Breath of the Wild but better. So if you don't like
they're probably just going to double down on everything I didn't like, which is what I've been hearing so far. So
yeah,
Ragnarok was God of War but worse.
No, that was better. But let's not get on a tangent though. Anyway,
they're both great.
They're both great. Yeah. But yeah, I feel you. I mean, what else is coming out?
So,
what else is coming out before
Redfall?
Redfall.
Yeah,
so we're gonna
Redfall. Is anyone playing that?
Yeah, I am playing that.
We're all gonna play it, I guess.
Yeah, I'm playing that.
You guys,
we're all playing together.
Yeah, I'm definitely playing Redfall.
I don't have an Xbox to play it, so
yeah, I have a PC to play it on.
I have a Series X, so I'll play. I might play on PC though. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well,
you should have at least a decent PC.
Get a PC, Mitch. Get a PC.
Wow. So not gonna play Redfall.
Easy.
Not gonna play Zelda. Mitch, don't even show up. Maybe we'll get nice views.
Get with that fucking joke. It never fails.
Yeah, I think that's it. Redfall and Zelda. So we'll talk about Star Wars. We'll talk about Star Wars in more detail.
We'll talk about Star Wars as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's just guys, the whole fucking month for us at this point.
You guys forgot the best game coming out, Suicide Kill the Justice League. That's still coming out, right? No delays, no bad press.
So we'll see you next time in 2 weeks. Hey.
All right, guys.
We'll do the outro.
Yeah, you guys all have a good night. I am going to figure out a way to put the audio on Spotify as well. So I do want to have audio. So you can check us out on YouTube and Spotify. And I've been quick with the uploads, so you will find this episode up pretty usually within the same night we record. So check it out in a few hours. So y'all have a good night. Peace.
Peace.
Oh no, I can't promote my Twitter. I'm kidding.